Chapter 764. At this moment in the master bedroom of the villa, Xiaoping didn't know about the fight between the maids. At this moment he was opening the internal network of the giant company and was looking at all sorts of top-secret mission information. Mission. He clenched his fists and looked at the list of missions seriously. As a core member of the giant company, there were all sorts of privileges and naturally, there were duties that needed to be completed. And the missions given by the giant company were one of the duties that he needed to complete. However, he only needed to complete one mission every year. In that case, after a year he wouldn't need to complete any more missions. This wasn't too difficult. Of course, even if there wasn't this duty, many members of the giant company would still choose to accept missions. After all, completing a mission would give them rich rewards. Often, some experts at the Grandmaster level would pass through all sorts of missions to obtain large amounts of cultivation resources. If they wished to cultivate faster, they had to accept many missions to increase their strength. But which mission should I complete? Xiaoping touched his chin and looked at all sorts of missions. He didn't want to waste time in the giant city. He wanted to accept a mission to familiarize himself with the surrounding environment. He looked at it. Some missions were to explore unknown areas such as the Death Swamp, the Deep Abyss, the Scorching Island, etc. These places were filled with danger and contained many secrets. They needed to be explored by pioneers to provide clues for later generations. But because these were unknown, they didn't know what dangers they would encounter. Every time they explored, a large number of experts would die. This was a mission with a slim chance of survival. Some missions were to search for treasures. Some clients hoped that the members of the giant company would head to a dangerous place to help them collect spiritual herbs, precious ores and other treasures. The rewards were also quite high. There were also missions that required one to be a guard, helping to protect a piece of merchandise or a noble with a high status. These kinds of missions were relatively easy, and the rewards were also very high. Usually, when such missions appeared, they would be quickly taken away by others. There are also missions to kill pirates. Xiaoping immediately looked at the missions. There were many wanted posters with large amounts of rewards. If they could kill the pirates on the wanted posters, they would receive rewards from the civilian merchants and the government. The stronger the pirates were, the more dangerous they were, and the higher the reward. It seems that the Endless Sea is indeed a very chaotic area. Xiaoping looked at the information and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Because of the vastness of the Endless Sea, the human clan, the monster clan, the undersea races, and the deep-sea monsters all gathered in this area. Fish and dragons mixed together. There was no place more chaotic than this. In this area, killing was a common occurrence. They fought endlessly. In the Endless Sea, the pirates were the ones who killed the most people. They committed all kinds of crimes, burning, killing, and looting. They brought great trouble to human cities, and countless ordinary people were killed and injured. Among these pirates, some are from the seabed race. They are used to occupying the sea and robbing and killing human ships that pass through this sea. Being targeted by these seabed race, often blood will flow like a river and the ship will be destroyed. Some of them were human villains and criminals. They had violated the Federation's laws and were sentenced to death. They could no longer live in the normal human world, so they became bandits and occupied an area. There were also some ambitious people who disobeyed federal control and directly became pirates, living free and unfettered. In short, the origin of these pirates was very complicated. They had become a big disaster in the Endless Sea, and also one of the root causes of chaos. Among the many pirates, hundreds of years have passed, and they have gradually formed a huge pirate group. The most famous one is the 108 pirate groups. Their strength ranges from low to high, and they are extremely tyrannical. The strength of some pirate groups is no less than some martial arts organizations, and even the boss of the pirate group is a king. It can be said that these pirates are also one of the overlords of the Endless Sea. Kill the old shark of the blood shark pirates. Bounty of 10 billion. His strength is the fourth sky of the supreme power realm. His body is a blood shark monster. He is proficient in water warfare. He can be called a hungry wolf in the sea. He is sinister and cunning. Xiaoping looked at the information of one of the missions. When the blood shark pirates appeared, they implemented the 3 lights policy. Kill them all, rob them all, burn them all, and leave no one alive. Their methods are cruel and outrageous. At least tens of thousands of people died in the hands of the blood shark pirates. The blood shark pirates ranked 98. They have more than 10,000 subordinates. Each member is from the seabed race. Ordinary people will quickly flee when they encounter this pirate group. Even from the cold information, he can feel the fierceness and cruelty of the blood shark pirates. If ordinary people encounter such a pirate group in the sea, they will die. After all, they are all seabed race. They are proficient in swimming. Some of them swim faster than ships. Even if they want to escape, it is impossible. If I can kill all the blood shark pirates and sell the heads of those pirates, I can get at least hundreds of billions of federal coins. Xia Ping found that the members of the entire blood shark pirates are wanted. Although the price is not as high as the head of the blood shark pirates, they win in number. Each of the cadres has a bounty of hundreds of millions of federal coins, which is a huge amount. And the blood shark pirates have been running rampant in the endless sea for at least 10 years. I don't know how many treasures they have stored. If I can wipe out this pirate group, I am afraid I can make a lot of money. Xia Ping clenched his fists and his eyes were shining. He is very short of money. The moon god alone is a super invincible pit. Every year he needs to spend a lot of money to maintain and repair it. If there is no money, then nothing can be done. Therefore, if he can completely destroy this pirate group, he will definitely get a huge income. Ding. Immediately, a warning word came from the virtual projection. Warning, warning. Given that this is the first time you have accepted a task, this task is dangerous, and the death rate is more than 80%, please choose carefully. If you quit now, you can cancel this task. Death rate more than 80%. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. This is indeed a very scary word. It is estimated that any martial artist will think twice when they see this probability. But he is different. He already has a lot of trump cards on him, such as the space ring. If he encounters danger, he can immediately hide in it. Even if it doesn't work, he can directly launch the moon god and launch an attack on those pirates. He can definitely easily annihilate the other party. This kind of task has a very high death rate for others, but for him, it is easy. Accept. Xia Ping did not hesitate and immediately pressed accept. Ding. Chapter 765. The next morning in the living room of the villa. Young master. The butler Feng Wanliang looked at Xia Ping and said, I heard that you took a mission to hunt down the blood shark pirates? To be honest, this group of pirates is very cruel and they have a large number of people. It is not so easy to kill their boss. Moreover, there is an unknown relationship between pirates. Killing one of them is like poking a hornet's nest. Even a master at the peak of Grand Master would not dare to offend them easily. He looked serious and felt that Xia Ping was a bit reckless in taking this mission. It's okay. They are just a group of thieves. I can kill them as easily as killing a dog. Xia Ping didn't care. He had many cards in his hand. Not to mention these pirates, even if there was a king, he could kill them all. Feng Wanliang didn't know his cards, so it was normal for him to be so worried. Even if you are confident that you can destroy those pirates, it will not be easy to find the blood shark pirates. Seeing Xia Ping's confident look, Feng Wanliang didn't say anything more. He told him the difficulty of killing a pirate group. That was to hide the whereabouts of the pirates. After all, the endless sea was too vast. Even now, human beings had explored less than 1% of the sea. There were still many mysterious areas that had not been explored. As long as those pirates hid in the depths of the sea, no matter how powerful they would not be able to find them. Therefore, pirates became one of the scourges of the endless sea. They could not be killed. There is no need to find them. I will let them show themselves and lure the snake out of the hole. Xia Ping smiled. Lure the snake out of the hole? Hearing this, Feng Wanliang was very confused. He didn't know what Xia Ping wanted to do. By the way, can I create a fake identity and show others with another face? Xia Ping asked. Feng Wanliang thought for a moment and said, Young master, do you want to change your identity? That's not a problem. To the giant company, this is a small matter. As long as we change some of the data, we can change the young master to someone else. Also, his resume has been extremely normal since he was young. No one can find any flaws. He was very sure. After all, the giant company was a super force. It was very easy to make up a character's identity. That's good. Xia Ping nodded. His real identity couldn't be exposed in the next plan. Otherwise, many monster kings in the Wanyao mountain would know his whereabouts. It was better to use another identity to deal with this matter. Young master, what should we do next? Feng Wanliang asked curiously. Since Xia Ping said this, he must have thought of a series of plans. Help me hold a press conference to build momentum. Xia Ping smiled mysteriously. Another day later, the entire giant city was covered by an amazing news. Someone claimed to broadcast the killing of the blood shark pirates within a month and even invited hundreds of media in the giant city to help with publicity and hold a press conference. At this time, at the press conference, hundreds of media outlets, big and small, were gathered in the venue. Cameramen, lighting technicians and other staff were also distributed in every corner. The lineup was powerful, as if a big star was holding a press conference. A young man in a white suit stood on it and said passionately, "Don't worry everyone. In this era where criminals are getting more and more rampant, there will always be heroes. Wu Neng is not talented. I want to be a hero who fights against criminals and upholds justice. With me here, everyone can rest assured that any pirate will be swept away. Although I am not famous yet, everyone can call me the nemesis of evil in the future." And this person is obviously Xia Ping. He wore a Rui mask and changed his original appearance. He changed his identity and appeared in front of the public media. At this time, no one can see that this Wu Neng is actually Xia Ping. Brag continued to brag. Below the audience, a reporter looked at Wu Neng with contempt. If pirates were so easy to be extinct, they would have been extinct long ago. Instead of now, pirates are rampant and risking their lives every time they sail. Keep your voice down, don't let others hear you. Damn, it's another young master who doesn't know the world. He wants to come here to make a name for himself. He hasn't killed those pirates yet, and he actually started to hold a press conference. He also called him the nemesis of evil. This kid's face is so thick that even the laser cannons can't penetrate it. It's said that hundreds of media outlets here were invited by him with money. He spent hundreds of millions. No wonder so many media friends came. I thought I was ignorant. Damn, he spent hundreds of millions. If he went to whore, how many women would he go to whore? That's what I like. A group of reporters in the audience were a little listless because they were all bought by Xia Ping's money. It was purely for the boss's task. Otherwise they would not be willing to come. However, they still have professional ethics. At least they won't tear down Qin Haodong's face. Well said, Mr. Wu Neng is really a model of heroes. If there are a few more people like Mr. Wu Neng in the world, it is estimated that there will be no evil in the whole world. Thank you very much for Mr. Wu Neng's contribution. I didn't expect that in such an era of evil, there would be a person with a sense of justice like Mr. Wu Neng. This is simply a clear stream which deeply moved me. The pillar of the country, the Lei Feng of the world, this is a great talent like Mr. Wu Neng. Come everyone, let's applaud and be proud of such a hero. Our safety will depend on Mr. Wu Neng in the future. When Xia Ping finished speaking, a few people immediately jumped out. They were incomparably excited and clapped their hands crazily, as if they were some fanatical fans who were madly flattering him. Damn, he even prepared people to support him. This is too well prepared. A group of reporters were stunned. They finally saw what it meant to be a rich person. Not only did he have the support of the news media, but he also had the support of fanatical fans. A series of processes had appeared. Now that he had done it this way, it really seemed to be the case. You're welcome. How can I, Wu Neng, get such support from everyone? Don't worry, in the future when those pirates hear my name, they will definitely be scared to the point of wetting their pants. Xia Ping said carelessly, as if he had accepted all the compliments without the slightest bit of embarrassment. Many reporters also saw once again that this playboy's face was as thick as a city wall. Chapter 766. Hearing this, a reporter immediately stood up and asked, Mr. Wu Neng, why did you kill the Blood Shark pirates? There are so many pirates in the world, why did you kill the Blood Shark pirates? Does Mr. Wu Neng have any enmity with them? He couldn't understand. No hatred. Xia Ping waved his hand. The reason why I wanted to kill the Blood Shark pirates was purely an accident. I was worried for a long time at the beginning and finally the wheel found it. This is actually the instruction of fate. Of course, it doesn't matter even if it's not the Blood Shark pirates. As long as they are evil pirates, they deserve to die. Only dead pirates are good pirates. Wheel? Hearing this, many reporters' mouths twitched. This guy is really casually looking for pirates. He actually decided to do this by relying on the wheel. He also bragged that this is the instruction of fate. It's very nice to hear, but in fact, it's just a random decision. This is too sloppy. What kind of game is killing the Blood Shark pirates? They already feel that this kid is completely hopeless. If this matter gets out and is known by the Blood Shark pirates, I'm afraid that this kid won't be able to eat it. Mr. Wu Neng. Another reporter stood up and asked, I don't know what strategy you have to kill the Blood Shark pirates. As far as I know, the other party is a large pirate group with tens of thousands of people. Their pirate group leader, Shark 17, is a Grandmaster-level powerhouse. It's very difficult to kill the other party. Some people have chased after the Blood Shark pirates before, but they all failed. Even their heads were cut off and hung on the ship as a warning. He wanted to know what Xia Ping's strategy was. What strategy is needed to deal with small pirates? In the face of absolute strength, any strategy is empty. As long as I find the blood shark pirates, then the army will crush them and destroy them. That's a matter of seconds. Xia Ping was unparalleled, saying that he can crush the group of pirates in minutes and break the enemy. There is no hope. Many reporters were completely speechless. If the blood shark pirates were so easy to kill, they would have been killed long ago. How could they live until now? This kid is completely crazy. Of course, I still have a specific plan. Xia Ping said, I intend to invite the heroes to gather those who have been persecuted by the blood shark pirates and hold a dinner party, and then everyone will discuss how to deal with the blood shark pirates. I believe that there are many people who have been persecuted by the blood shark pirates. As long as I raise my voice, there will be many people who will follow me. At that time, the blood shark pirates will be dead, and they will turn into ashes in the anger of the masses. He intends to hold a dinner party and gather many victims of the blood shark pirates to discuss important matters. Many reporters also saw that although this kid looks stupid, he still has a little IQ. He knows how to unite others and establish an anti-pirate alliance. In this case, there is no need to fight alone. Maybe there is a glimmer of hope to deal with the blood shark pirates. The press conference soon ended, and the news that Xia Ping intended to kill the blood shark pirates and gather many victims of the blood shark pirates spread quickly. With the power of money, this news also appeared on major websites and the headlines of major newspapers, so that places near the giant city and even further away know this news and spread thousands of miles. At this time, on a remote island in the endless sea, a luxurious palace was built here. The people of the blood shark pirates were eating and drinking in the palace hall, holding a banquet, and the lights were bright. Captain, something big happened. At this time, a pirate rushed in from outside the palace, holding a newspaper in his hand. He was very flustered. What happened? A muffled voice sounded, and it was Shark 17 who spoke. He was huge, with a height of 4 or 5 meters, and his feet stood on the ground like a small mountain. He had ferocious fangs, jagged like saw teeth, exuding a terrifying light. His whole body was covered with terrifying muscles, and it seemed that every inch of his body contained explosive power. This was a terrible warrior from the Shark clan. His strength alone surpassed humans of the same rank by 10 times. If he entered the sea, his battle power would soar even more. There is a human who wants to deal with us. He said that he will destroy the blood shark pirates within a month and kill all of us. A pirate waved the newspaper in his hand and shouted crazily. What? Hearing this, all the pirates who were eating big fish and meat stopped. What kind of human is so bold that he dares to destroy my blood shark pirates? He wants to die. Shark 17 was furious and let out a terrible roar, condensing into a terrible sound wave that shook some of the nearby pirates and rolled up 1,000 layers of dust. It's a fledgling, a young master. That kid seems to have just been promoted to the Grandmaster realm and came to the endless sea. The pirate quickly said his information. In order to make a name for himself, he wants to find our blood shark pirates and use us as a stepping stone to fame. So that's how it is, a fledgling. In the endless sea, there are at least 10,000 of such people. That's right, such a person will soon disappear. It's not worth mentioning. He wants to deal with our blood shark pirates. I really don't know where he got the courage. The group of pirates sneered, not putting that young master in their eyes at all. Every year they don't know how many idiots they want to kill, and this is just one of them. No, that guy seems to want to gather the many victims of the blood shark pirates to form a victim alliance, intending to deal with us together. He is serious. The pirate said in a deep voice. Victim alliance? Hearing this, Shark 17 laughed out loud. They're just a bunch of ants. So what if they banded together? I can squash them to death with a single hand. Boss, I think this is an opportunity. A dog-head advisor's eyes flashed coldly. Shark 17 was stunned. Opportunity? Yes, it is an opportunity. The dog-head advisor said treacherously. Originally, these victims often come in groups to find trouble with us, bringing us a lot of harm and sometimes almost destroying our actions. If we let these jumping clowns do damage like this, if we don't pay attention, it will lead to a disaster in the long run. Now that someone has gathered this group of idiots together, we can seize the opportunity to capture them all in one fell swoop and kill them all. After killing these idiots, I don't think there will be many people in the sea who will dare to fight against us. He was full of murderous intent as he offered a poisonous plan. Chapter 767. A few days later at night on a ship. At this time, the luxury ship has gone out to sea hundreds of kilometers away from the giant city. Some people who have hatred for the blood shark pirates were invited by Xia Ping on the cruise ship. Among them there are men and women, old and young. All of them have a blood feud with the blood shark pirates. All of them can't wait to crush the blood shark pirates to ashes. Mr. Wu Neng, can we really destroy the blood shark pirates? A girl asked. She was very skeptical about this because the blood shark pirates are too powerful, and their leader is a master of the supreme realm. And it is a deep-sea monster who is good at swimming. If the situation is not good, the other party can immediately drill into the sea and escape calmly. Even a powerful grandmaster would not be easy to intercept the other party. Of course, no problem. Xia Ping said, our trip to the sea is actually a rehearsal to annihilate the blood shark pirates. As long as the rehearsal is successful, then the blood shark pirates will be dead. He showed a very confident look. How do we destroy the blood shark pirates? Someone asked. Xia Ping said, it's very simple. We will pretend to be an ordinary cruise ship and deliberately release the news that the cruise ship secretly carries a lot of spiritual liquid. I believe that this amazing news will definitely make those stupid pirates ready to pounce on us like wild beasts. And we will ambush many powerful grandmasters in the cruise ship. We will attack them from 2 sides and ambush them from 10 sides. We will catch them off guard and completely destroy the blood shark pirates once and for all. He said his plan. Is it that simple? What if those pirates don't fall for it? Someone had a strange look on his face. If it was so easy to destroy the blood shark pirates, someone would have destroyed them long ago. Xia Ping waved his hand. Don't worry, those sea monsters are all well-developed and simple-minded. As long as they know this news, they will think that we are weak and will definitely attack. Think about it yourself. There is no cat in this world that doesn't steal fish and sharks that don't eat meat. Knowing that there are a lot of treasures on board, those stupid pirates will not attack. Of course, even if they really don't attack, you won't lose anything. It's just a waste of time. He was full of confidence. He thought that the sea demons were very stupid and would fall for it easily. Hearing this, the people around him nodded involuntarily. Taking a step back, even if this plan is not successful, they will not have any losses. At most, the pirates will not attack. But if they succeed, they can destroy those hateful pirates and take revenge. No matter what they do, it will be very good for them and they have no reason to refuse. I also know what you're worried about. You think that the success rate of one ship is too low, but that's okay, Xia Ping continued. If one ship doesn't work, then 10 ships. If 10 ships don't work, then 100 ships. I don't believe that this group of stupid pirates won't be tempted by such benefits. As long as they dare to attack one of the ships, they will die. Awesome. The people present were completely convinced. If they could really prepare 100 ships with a large number of grandmasters on each ship, then the blood shark pirates would be dead for sure. If they dared to attack one of them, they would definitely be ambushed by a large number of grandmasters. Of course, ordinary people can't do this kind of thing. Not to mention anything else, just hiring so many grandmasters as thugs is not something that ordinary people can afford. This is an astronomical amount of money, and only the super rich can afford it. And spending so much money just to destroy a pirate group, many people will scold the other party for being crazy. Money should not be wasted like this. They also don't understand why Wu Neng would do such a thankless thing. But it doesn't matter if they don't understand, he is a local tyrant, rich and willful. At this time, among the crowd, there is a young man with an ordinary appearance secretly lurking. He is wearing black-rimmed glasses with a needle-tip hole on the frame. This is a camera used to secretly take pictures. Through this camera, all the information on the ship can be transmitted to the outside world silently. This young man is a spy of the blood shark pirates. He also secretly followed the people around him to board the ship to get information. 800 miles away from the cruise ship, a large black ship was sailing with a pirate flag hanging on it. The pattern was like a shark skeleton, murderous. This is the flag of the blood shark pirates. At this time, the senior cadres of the blood shark pirates are gathered in the captain's room, looking at the secretly filmed images transmitted. All of their faces are as black as coal. Damn human, they really want to deal with us and come up with this kind of conspiracy. It's too hateful. Fortunately, we are smart and know how to send spies, otherwise, we will really be fooled by that human. If we go into that ship and suddenly a bunch of grandmasters jump out, we will be dead. What a shameless and treacherous human. No wonder my grandfather said that the most vicious creature is human. This is not unreasonable. All day long thinking of this kind of immoral strategy, exterminating people, aren't they afraid that their children will not have PIIs? When the pirates saw this scene, all of them cursed and a chill gushed out of their hearts. If the other party really sends 100 ships to plot against them, they will definitely be fooled if they don't know this. After all, they are pirates. How can they resist not robbing? They can hide from one ship, but how can they hide from 100 ships? There will always be a time when they will be fooled. The problem is, as long as they are fooled once, they will be besieged by a group of grandmasters. This is an extremely vicious plan. This is the root of the Bloodshark pirates. Fortunately, they now know the plan of this vicious human in advance and are prepared. Otherwise, their Bloodshark pirates will be finished and maybe they will become history. Damn it, this human is audacious to the extreme. How could he do such an immoral thing? With so much money he could do anything, but he actually came to deal with us. Did we dig up his roots or burn his grandfather's tomb? Why did he come to deal with us? These rich humans eat all day and have nothing to do, harming others without benefiting themselves. The dog-head advisor cursed. He felt that his pirate group was simply unlucky. To be targeted by such a rich human who is not short of money, it is simply bad luck. There are so many pirate groups in the endless sea. He didn't target others, but he took a fancy to them. It is too hateful. Destroy him. Shark 17 stood up, murderous. He wants to kill our Bloodshark pirates to become famous? This is simply a joke. Do we look like stepping stones to that human? Today we must destroy these stupid humans, kill the chicken to scare the monkey, and raise the prestige of my Bloodshark pirates. This time, we must kill them until they stop crying, until they don't dare to retaliate. Chapter 768. It's over, there are pirates coming. Just as Xia Ping and a group of people were bragging, a sailor in the distance suddenly screamed in horror. What? Hearing this, a group of people were shocked. Isn't today just a drill? Why are there pirates coming? What the hell happened? Aren't you monitoring the sea? Why didn't you find any pirates coming? Someone shouted, feeling extremely frightened. In this boundless and helpless sea, there is nothing more desperate than encountering vicious pirates. A large white mist suddenly rose in the distant sea. We thought it was normal weather, but we didn't expect to be fooled. The sailor cried out. When the white mist dissipated, a huge pirate ship appeared in front of us, and now it is only 2 or 3 miles away from our cruise ship. Many people were horrified. They immediately knew that the pirate ship must have a siren who could manipulate the weather, so they could approach silently with the cover of the white mist and not be discovered. It's over, we are completely finished, they are already close. Suddenly, the sailor collapsed on the ground in despair. His whole body was trembling, and he was so scared that he had no strength. This pirate flag, it's the Bloodshark pirates. The Bloodshark pirates are coming. Someone's eyes were very sharp, and he immediately found that the huge pirate ship had a flag hanging on it. This flag represents the identity of the Bloodshark pirates. Bloodshark pirates. Hearing these big words, the people present were scared and pale. Although they have a blood feud with the Bloodshark pirates, they are also extremely afraid of these pirates. The name of the other party represents death, fear, darkness, and inhumanity. Anyone who encounters the Bloodshark pirates basically has no way to live. Impossible, this is not a drill. Is it just a drill? Yes, why did the Bloodshark pirates appear in this place? Dream, this must be a dream, otherwise how could this happen? Where is the captain? Where is the captain? Hurry up and escape, we can't fight them head on. Many people showed a desperate look and all of them trembled. They were unprepared, and they didn't expect to meet the fierce pirates so soon. Dong. All of a sudden the entire cruise ship shook violently. The ship that was originally moving at high speed suddenly stopped, as if it had completely broken down and could no longer move. This is bad. The ship's engine has been destroyed. It's impossible to steer now. We can't escape. The captain's voice came from the loudspeaker. Everyone could hear his fear. Everyone present knows that the Bloodshark pirates are all sirens. Many of them are terrible sirens who can move quickly in the deep sea. They can catch up with the ship and destroy it from the bottom. A ship without an engine was simply a large coffin that could only be slaughtered by the enemy. They really came. Xia Ping's expression was very calm. He was very calm because he knew that the pirates would attack and he was mentally prepared. He even prepared a lot of backup plans. If this group of pirates attacked, it would be suicidal. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The pirate ship approached and from the deck, powerful sea demons immediately jumped over. There were hundreds and thousands of them and in the blink of an eye they controlled the entire ship. Among them, the leader of the Bloodshark pirates also jumped over. Surrounded by a group of younger brothers, he came to the humans on the ship. He looked fierce and murderous. You are Wu Neng? Shark 17 fiercely stared at Xia Ping, who was standing in the middle of the crowd, gritted his teeth and said, "Kid, you have a lot of courage. You actually dare to deal with our blood shark pirates, causing trouble here, wishing for the world to be in chaos. The order of the entire endless sea is disrupted by people like you. Do you know that your behavior is heinous? Even if I kill your entire family, it won't be too much." His eyes revealed an amazing murderous aura. "Why did you come so quickly? We aren't ready yet." Xia Ping pretended to be confused, as if he couldn't believe that the blood shark pirates would come so quickly. "You think this is a fucking game? We have to wait for you to be ready before we come? You are crazy." The group of pirates was immediately angered by Xia Ping's words. If they really waited for this kid to be ready, they would have already fled. How could they dare to appear again? They knew that this human wasn't ready, which was why they dared to come and kill him. They wanted to catch this human off guard and kill all the humans who wanted to deal with them. "You stupid humans, you actually dare to group up to deal with our blood shark pirates? It seems that we are still a little too soft-hearted, so there are so many fish that escaped the net." Shark 17 said in a faint tone, "But from now on, I will be ruthless. No one will be left alive. Any human who is a threat will be killed, and no future trouble will be left. You are honored. You will be the sacrifice of our blood shark pirates." These words made everyone present feel cold from the bottom of their hearts. These are the pirates of the endless sea. They kill people like flies. They don't care about etiquette and morality. They advocate the law of nature, where the weak are prey to the strong. Everyone was desperate. They had planned to take revenge before, but they saw that these pirates had amazing strength. They were simply killing machines. How could they resist? Now that they can't take revenge, they will die in the hands of these enemies. "Damn pirate, don't think that you can continue to be so rampant. You have done so many evil things, you will not have a good end." An old man gnashed his teeth. He was full of hatred towards Shark 17. Bang. Without waiting for the old man to finish speaking, Shark Shichi slapped the old man, causing him to fall to the ground. A red palm print appeared on the old man's face, and his mouth was full of blood. A few of his teeth even flew out. He fell to the ground, howling in pain. But this was not the end. Shark 17 stepped on the old man's head, trampling it fiercely, almost deforming his head. He said savagely, "Old thing, did I let you speak? Tell me yourself, did I allow you to speak?" The old man let out a mournful scream. The intense pain made him unable to speak at all, blood dripping from his body. Such a miserable state made the surrounding people feel scared. This old man was also a master, a first heaven of the supreme power realm, but he was not a match for Shark 17 at all. He was knocked down with a single blow, unable to resist. The gap between the two sides was really too big. Chapter 769. This. Everyone's eyes widened as their hearts filled with rage and killing intent. They clenched their fists and were about to attack. However, the powerful pirates in the surroundings looked over with murderous gazes. The air was filled with a terrifying pressure, making it hard for them to breathe. It was as if their bodies were being crushed by a huge mountain, unable to move. Instantly, it was as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over their heads. They no longer dared to move. "Stop." At this time a girl stood out. She couldn't bear it any longer and wanted to save the old man. "Stop? Who do you think you are? Do you think you can stop just because you say so?" One of the pirates laughed loudly. He looked at the girl as if he was looking at an idiot, his eyes filled with ridicule. "You guys have done too many evil things. Sooner or later there will be retribution. Even if we can't kill you, there will always be someone who can kill you in our place." A girl stood out, her eyes filled with hatred as she gnashed her teeth. Her parents had been killed by this group of pirates. It was said that they had been eaten alive by them, leaving not even their bones behind. There is someone who can kill us? What a joke. This old man, Shark 13, has roamed the seas for decades. Who can kill me? However, you actually dared to stand out. At least you have some backbone. I like to eat humans with backbone the most. They are chewy. Shark 17 laughed malevolently. A huge hand the size of a cattail leaf fan grabbed out at an extremely fast speed. Whistling sounds could be heard as the air was torn apart. It's over. Everyone couldn't help but close their eyes. Such a fragile girl was probably no stronger than tofu under such a sharp claw. She would be crushed to death in an instant and turned into a pile of meat paste. They didn't dare to look at the miserable state of this girl when she died. At this time, Xia Ping suddenly moved, blocking in front of the girl and slapping out with his palm. Boom. The collision of the two tyrannical forces immediately produced a huge vibration sound, and an astonishing energy burst out, sweeping in all directions. Several pirates nearby were caught off guard and were shaken out. Shark 17 was also horrified and couldn't help but take a few steps back. However, Xiaoping didn't move a single inch. What a powerful force. Shark 17 couldn't hide the shock in his heart. He was a member of the sea demon race. Just his strength alone was more than 10 times that of an ordinary human. Against an ordinary human he could simply crush them. Usually it didn't need to do anything at all. With a single punch it could turn a human into minced meat. But now there was actually a human who was even stronger than it. This was simply unbelievable. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked at Shark 17 dangerously. You want to make a move on the people here? Have you asked for my permission? Do you really think you don't have to pay the price for acting so atrociously in my territory? Price my ass, you bastard human. Not only will I kill all the men here and dismember them into 1,000 pieces, I'll also take all the women here and bring them back to fuck them all. What can you do about it? Shark 17 sneered, not taking Xiaoping seriously at all. The other sea demons were also sneering. A puny human dared to behave atrociously in front of them? He really didn't know his own capabilities. Boom. As soon as the words left his mouth, Shark 17 immediately attacked. Shark Race's King-class martial skill, Shark Rampage 18 styles. In the blink of an eye, its huge body came crashing over. Even though its body was huge, its speed was inconceivably fast. It was like a shark swimming in the sea, breaking through the surface of the sea in an instant to kill its prey. Its sharp claws slashed over. Astral energy vibrated and condensed into substance. Under its control, the airflow turned into sharp wind blades. They were incomparably sharp and could cut through anything. It seemed like anything that stood in the way of these wind blades would be completely torn apart. They were even vibrating in the air, buzzing like bees flapping their wings. This martial skill was purely a martial skill for killing. Apart from killing, it had no other use. It seemed like it had abandoned all unnecessary movements. Every move and every style was aimed at killing the enemy. It didn't even hesitate to exchange injuries for injuries. Its killing efficiency was extremely high. Once Shark 17 touched it, he would either die or be severely injured. In fact, this martial skill was simply tailor-made for the shark race. Shark 17's powerful body, recovery ability that far surpassed humans, and astonishing strength allowed the might of this martial skill to be displayed to the fullest. If an ordinary martial artist wanted to fight against it, they would only be able to land a punch on Shark 17's body. Shark 17 wouldn't even be able to break his skin before his head would be smashed to pieces. It was incomparably wild and unstoppable. Xiaoping remained unmoved. He took a step forward, his entire person resembling a sacred Buddha. A halo of light appeared behind him, illuminating the world with Buddha's radiance, warming everyone's hearts. In the void, faint sounds of Sanskrit could be heard, as if a Buddha was chanting. Such light, such Sanskrit sounds, it seemed as if they wanted to expel the darkness of the world and welcome the light. Unmovable Buddha palm. After advancing to the Grandmaster realm, this palm skill seemed to have undergone a massive transformation. It was as if it could finally display a trace of the true mysteries of this palm skill. Not only did this palm strike contain an extreme and violent destructive power, but it also contained mental strength. When facing this palm strike, the enemy seemed to be facing an extreme pressure. Illusions appeared in their minds as if an arhat that could subdue dragons and tigers had appeared, wanting to slay demons with thunderous methods. Boom. Immediately, this palm strike shattered Shark 17's terrifying astral chi. It shattered inch by inch as if the entire air had collapsed. The air was expelled, forming a temporary vacuum zone. Shark 17 didn't expect Xiaoping's palm strike to be so terrifying. It contained the immense power of an ancient divine beast, sweeping everything in its path. Even with his innate divine strength, he couldn't block it. Its huge body was sent flying. With a thump, it smashed into the ship's hold, creating a huge crater. Cracking sounds rang out as metal fragments flew in all directions. Cracks also appeared on the ground, extending for more than 10 meters. It was extremely shocking. The entire ship shook violently as if the world was shaking. Impossible. The surrounding pirates were all dumbfounded. They were all shocked. Their captain, whom they revered like a god, was actually no match for a human. He was sent flying with a single palm strike and was at a disadvantage. So strong. The surrounding people were all shocked. Previously they all thought that this Wu Neng was a good-for-nothing young master without any strength. He only wanted to use this method to make a name for himself because his family was rich. Who would have thought that he would be a complete mess of brutality? Human. Shark 17 roared, struggling to get up from the debris. His eyes were bloodshot as he clenched his fists. His aura was boiling, distorting the air and causing the debris on the ground to tremble violently. Everyone present could feel Shark 17's intense killing intent. It was so strong that it was almost tangible. Every pore on their bodies felt as if they were being pricked by needles, and their bodies were trembling. Chapter 770. Stop shouting. Even as Shark 17 shouted, a whooshing sound rang out as Xia Ping used the Kuan-Ping steps to appear in front of Shark 17, whereupon he unleashed a fist strike. Boom. Immediately, the punch landed squarely on Shark 17's face, sending him flying. Ripples condensed into substance in the air, causing the air to tremble unceasingly. Captain? Many of the pirates' eyes popped out of their sockets. This human was extremely cruel. He didn't seem to want to give their boss any chance to fight back. His attacks were like a torrential storm. Ah! Shark 17 was incomparably indignant. Fuck, he was about to show off his might and kill this human. Who would have thought that this human wouldn't even give him the chance to do so? Shark 17's huge body hadn't even fallen to the ground when Xia Ping rushed over again. Fist imprints condensed in the air and smashed into Shark 17's body. His speed was so fast that his fists broke through the sound barrier. Dong dong dong. Shark 17 was like a sandbag sent flying everywhere. He was like a small boat sailing on the sea. His skin had also split open, revealing traces of blood. He didn't receive any fatal injuries. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. After dozens of punches, he realized that although Shark 17 looked miserable on the surface, the punches didn't penetrate his skin and enter his lungs. It seemed that every punch he landed on Shark 17's body was absorbed by the latter's body, constantly dissipating the force of his punches. Not a single punch could cause any fatal injuries. Foolish human, your punches are useless against me. The body structure of the shark race isn't something you humans can imagine. Shark 17 laughed heartily, looking very pleased with himself. The shark race had a special body structure. Their skin was covered with a thick layer of fat. This layer of fat could resist the cold and hundreds of tons of water pressure in the deep sea. This also resulted in their defense being off the charts. Ordinary physical attacks didn't have much effect on them. When a punch landed, no matter how strong the force, it would be quickly absorbed or dissipated by the fat. That was why Shark 17 relied on this tyrannical method. Often, human grandmasters didn't know about this and would attack him crazily. Even when their strength was exhausted, they couldn't harm Shark 17. In the end, Shark 17 waited for the other party to tire of beating him up, and then with a backhand slap, he smashed the human's head into minced meat. Concede, human, Shark 17 said with a vicious smile. You're not a match for me. Be a good boy and let yourself be captured. Close your eyes and wait for death. With that, he flipped through the air and landed on the ground. Its huge body was like a mountain of flesh as it stood on the ground, emitting an extremely powerful pressure. The wounds on its body were no longer bleeding, and they had even formed scabs. This was a special ability of the shark race, an extremely powerful self-healing ability. No matter how serious the injury was, as long as it was not fatal, the injuries on their bodies would automatically heal. If it was a light injury, it would scar within a few minutes and stop bleeding. What a monster! The surrounding humans were all shocked. This was the big pirate that dominated the sea. It was too strong. Its defense was invincible and its recovery was extremely strong. Coupled with its unparalleled tyrannical strength and powerful martial arts, who could be its opponent? Clapless palm. Xia Ping's eyes were cold. It wasn't that he hadn't encountered enemies with such strong defense, and he had even killed many of them. This shark thought that it was invincible just because it had a strong defense. It was simply a frog at the bottom of a well. Whoosh. He struck out with his palm without any sound or presence. After advancing to the Grandmaster level, he had a deeper understanding of the clapless palm. He had completely softened the hard and soft forces. When the two forces were superimposed, its power was boundless. In the air there seemed to be a faint roar of a real shark. What is this? Shark 17's hair stood on end. As a Grandmaster he could feel that this palm was completely different from before. Its power had increased by several times, and it seemed to be able to pose a threat to him. Its huge body immediately moved. It was extremely agile, like a flying fish in the sea trying to dodge this palm. But it was too late. It was only 2 to 3 meters away from Xiaoping, and Xiaoping's attack had broken through the sound barrier. With such a fast speed in such a short distance, how could it dodge? It was an attack that even the speed of thinking couldn't keep up with. Boom. The huge palm landed on Shark 17's body. Layers of terrifying fist force penetrated into his body, and the air exploded. It was as if the air had been blasted apart by this palm. The soft forces and the hard and fierce forces softly blended together. The two forces exploded like a flood, sweeping away everything in its path. Even though Shark 17's body had an extremely strong defense, it couldn't withstand this extremely soft palm force. In an instant, it penetrated through layers of his fat and blocked his lungs. Ah! Shark 17 let out a mournful scream. Even though he had suffered such a terrifying force, his body actually didn't fly out. He just stood there. This was because the soft force was different from the hard and fierce force. It completely affected the enemy's body, not wasting a single bit of its force. It completely formed a vibration and destroyed the enemy's body. It could be imagined that the destructive power of this soft palm was incomparable. The terrifying energy continuously shook Shark 17's internal organs. The ground he stood on immediately cracked open, looking like a spiderweb. And his nose, mouth, eyes, ears and other places were all bleeding. The surrounding people could see Shark 17's miserable state. It was as if he had turned into a bloody man. His whole body skin had cracked open, and blood seemed to be freely flowing out. Drip, 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 the earth was dyed red. This kind of injury was simply fatal. Even though the shark race had a strong recovery ability, they were helpless in the face of this palm. Their injuries were too heavy, and they couldn't use their recovery ability. They were helpless. Captain? The surrounding pirates were dumbfounded. They didn't expect that their captain, whom they respected like a god, would be beaten to such a miserable state by a puny human. They couldn't imagine it and thought that this was some kind of illusion. But their captain's scream was so real that they couldn't help but believe that their captain was really finished. Go to hell. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. He immediately made a move, wanting to smash this pirate's head with a palm and end his life. You dare. Stop, damned human. You dare to kill the boss of the Blood Shark Pirates? Do you want to die? Let's go together and kill this human. Pile him to death. Seeing that their captain was in danger, the nearby pirates angrily shouted and immediately wanted to stop him. Chapter 771. Boom. The first to attack were the 4 senior cadres of the Blood Shark Pirates, Eel 5, Arrow 7, Jianghu 9 and Crab 18. Arrow 7 was the fastest because his original body was a swordfish. His swimming speed in the sea was comparable to that of a flying arrow. He was known as the fastest fish demon in the sea. When he was in the sea, once he broke out the extreme speed, his whole body would be like a cone-shaped flying arrow, forming a terrible wave that could pierce the enemy in an instant. Even though he was on land now, his speed was not reduced at all. He held a sharp blade in one hand which was so sharp that it could cut iron like mud. His whole body turned into a light, leaving the place and attacking Xiaoping. This was a peerless stab. Phew. Eel 5 was also not simple. His original body was an electric eel, known as the Judge of the Sea. He had the power to control thunder and was feared by countless sea demons. Once the power of thunder and lightning broke out in his body, the area within a kilometer would be covered by the thunder energy, reaching 100,000 volts. Any creature that approached would be roasted in an instant. He clenched his big hand, and a terrible thunder energy gushed out from his body. With a crackling sound, it instantly condensed into a thunder spear, which was purple and contained mysterious runes. In the next second, the thunder spear was thrown out by him to penetrate Xiaoping's body. Bang! Jianghu 9's movements were the most violent. His original body was an octopus with many tentacles, each of which was equivalent to a steel spear. He waved his countless tentacles and overlapping spear shadows appeared in the void, tearing the air at tricky angles. It was as if a spear grandmaster was born in the world. These tentacles were extremely terrifying, tearing everything apart. In an instant they covered Xiaoping's body, blocking any space that he could move and time to dodge. Whoosh! Crab 18 was the most insidious. His original body was a sea crab with 2 sharp crab claws like scissors. Even titanium alloy metal could be cut into countless pieces in an instant. He was even proficient in the art of assassination. Once he moved, he would move horizontally in an instant, disappearing silently in this space as if he had integrated into the shadows. No one could find him. In the next second he appeared behind Xia Ping, waving his crab claws, wanting to cut off Xia Ping's head and kill him completely. These 4 senior cadres also had the strength of Supreme Power Stage 2. Even if their individual strength was inferior to Shark 17's, the combined threat of 4 high-ranking officers was many times more terrifying than Shark 17's. Be careful. Despicable. Bullying with numbers. The surrounding humans were shocked and their pupils shrank. They didn't expect these pirates to be so despicable. The captain couldn't beat the others, so several of his subordinates attacked at the same time. It was extremely sinister. Despicable? We are pirates who do all kinds of evil. Who would fight with you alone? Ganging up on us is the way to go. Who told you to be alone? A pirate said proudly. Die. The 4 pirate cadres attacked at the same time, and the cold killing intent spread through every pore of Xia Ping's body, condensing into substance, turning the whole air into mercury, which was extremely heavy. Shark 17 was overjoyed. He had thought that he was done for and that he would be killed by the human. He hadn't expected that he wouldn't be so easy to deal with. At the critical moment he had appeared and stopped the brat. Idiot, do you think you can win just because a few good-for-nothings launched a sneak attack? Today I will let you good-for-nothings know that there is always someone better than you. Xia Ping sneered, and in an instant he took out the soul-sucking bell. Tyrannical stellar energy immediately surged out of his body and crazily poured into the soul-absorbing bell, activating the energy of the mysterious soul-absorbing bell. With the soul-absorbing bell as the center, circles of spiritual fluctuations that were invisible to the naked eye immediately surged out. Rumble, these terrifying spiritual fluctuations were like waves, spreading in all directions. This was an attack that touched the soul, and its speed was unimaginably fast. The 4 senior cadres and even the pirates who were watching the show didn't know what was going on, and were hit by the power of the soul-sucking bell. Dong. Such a sound was like a morning bell, and it fiercely hit the depths of their souls, shaking them to the point that their minds went blank for a few seconds. Kill? Xia Ping shouted, and as if he was possessed by Qi, a terrifying killing intent filled the entire ship, and the ferocious nature of the humans present was completely aroused. Under his control, the power of the soul-sucking bell didn't affect the humans. All the people present were not affected and they were still intact. Hearing Xia Ping's angry shout, and seeing the sluggish eyes of the pirates who stood in the same place like wooden stakes, unable to move, they immediately knew that their opportunity had come. Each of these humans had a blood feud with the blood shark pirates. Among them there were a few grandmasters and the rest were martial masters. Their strength was definitely not simple. After being reminded by Xia Ping, they quickly reacted. This was a great opportunity. One of them took out a large saber and chopped down with great force. It was incomparably ferocious, and a sea demon was split in half from head to toe. Blood splattered everywhere. Others took out a 3-foot-long sword, and their movements were light, like a butterfly flying through flowers. In an instant they came in front of a pirate, and with one thrust, they pierced through the other's heart, ending their lives. The most violent one was the old man who had been humiliated by the captain. He picked up a huge hammer from the side and his whole body was like a giant. His muscles swelled and his abdominal muscles were distinct. With a bang he smashed down with the hammer, and in an instant the head of a sea demon was smashed into meat paste. At this moment these people were like killing machines. This was a one-sided massacre and they killed all the pirates one by one. There was nothing simpler than this. Killing these pirates who had no consciousness of resistance was similar to whack-a-mole. One hit for one, simple and direct. They wouldn't show any mercy. Everyone knew that these were inhumane, murderous pirates. If they didn't resist, they would die. If these pirates didn't die, then they would die. Not to mention they themselves had a blood feud with these pirates. Their relatives had all died at the hands of these pirates. Now that there was a chance for revenge, how could they miss it? No, no, no. You humans, you bastards, how can you do this? How dare you do this? Shark 17 was the strongest, and his soul power was also extremely powerful. He was also the first sea demon to wake up. When he regained consciousness, he immediately saw his subordinates being killed by the humans like wooden stakes, falling into a pool of blood. Immediately, his eyes widened and his blood surged. His lungs were about to explode from anger. His elite subordinates had actually been slaughtered by these filthy, lowly, and weak humans. In just a few seconds, more than half of them had died. Chapter 772. Die. Xia Ping was too lazy to pay attention to the clamoring Shark 17. He pulled out the hell spear from his body and instantly stabbed towards the 4 pirate cadres. His speed was as fast as thunder. Bang bang bang. Eel 5, Arrow 7, 9th and Krabby 18, these 4 high-level pirate cadres had just woken up, but they soon saw their chests being pierced by a spear. Their hearts were blown up at this moment. Ah! The 4 senior cadres let out a miserable scream. Suddenly, endless pain spread all over their body. It was as if every nerve in their body was being bitten by ants. The pain made them almost unable to breathe. They wanted to resist and kill this damn human. But now that their hearts were pierced, the strength of their whole body seemed to flow out along with their blood. The earth was completely dyed red. No, no, no. Shark 17's eyes were wide open. These 4 senior cadres had followed him through life and death for dozens of years. He didn't know how many hardships and dangers they had gone through. But now they were actually stabbed to death by a human, and their hearts were blown up. This scene was simply unacceptable to him. As the famous blood shark pirates, they are now wiped out here. No one will believe it. Originally, he thought that they were here to raid the humans and kill the other party by surprise, and by the way, kill the chicken to scare the monkey. But who would have thought that the other party was just one person, and they were so scared that they lost all their elites? I understand it's a trap, this is a trap. Shark 17 stared at Xia Ping. He finally realized that he had stepped into the trap of this despicable and shameless human. How can this guy be a hothead? How can he be a playboy from a rich family? How can he be a pretty boy who will do anything to become famous? He is clearly a hidden vicious beast. With just one person, the other party has the power to annihilate the entire blood shark pirates. But they didn't know this and still foolishly attacked. If they didn't walk into a death trap, then what else could it be? They clearly came here to line up and die. He regretted it. If he knew that this human was so cruel, he wouldn't have come here even if he was beaten to death. He would have directly fled, abandoned this sea, and went to other places to make a comeback. But now it was too late. The elites of the blood shark pirates all died here because they took a wrong step. Trap? This is indeed a trap. Hearing this, the humans at the side immediately came to their senses and looked at Xia Ping with great admiration. At this moment, when they saw countless sea demons dying tragically at their hands, they also knew that this might be Xia Ping's plan. He pretended to be arrogant and arrogant. Not only did he deceive the people of the blood shark pirates, but he also deceived them. The purpose was to make the people of the blood shark pirates jump out by themselves. Sure enough, these pirates were fooled, thinking that there were no strong enemies on this ship. They wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to kill all their enemies, killing the chicken to scare the monkey. However, that arrogant young master was their strongest trump card. He himself was a powerful grandmaster. Additionally, he also carried a prized artifact with him. His combat power was unparalleled. Just one person can kill this group of pirates and cause them to be in a complete mess, completely routed. As a result, the sinister and cunning blood shark pirates were annihilated. If other means were used, not to mention annihilating the blood shark pirates, it would take a lot of effort to find them. You only understand now? It's too late. Since you dared to come here, then there's no need to leave. All of you can die. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a strong killing intent, causing the air to boil. Like a needle, it pierced into every pore of Shark 17's body. Despicable and shameless human, I will never let you go. Just wait for my revenge. In this life, I, Shark 17, will not be a demon if I don't kill you. Shark 17 roared, and his eyes revealed the murderous aura of a blood shark. He hated Xia Ping to the extreme, the kind of hatred that went deep into his bones. It was estimated that even the hatred of killing his father would not be greater than this. Dong. As soon as his voice fell, he immediately took out a black bomb from his body and instantly smashed it towards Xia Ping and the others. What? Everyone was shocked and subconsciously fell to the ground to avoid it. Boom. The black bomb exploded on the spot, and suddenly a large amount of black liquid erupted. It was the ink of some cuttlefish. It was overwhelming and almost covered the entire ship, blocking the line of sight of countless people. This was an ink bomb, a biological bomb made from the ink secreted by the cuttlefish. Although the power was not very great, it was not even comparable to an ordinary grenade, but the instant it erupted with ink, once released, it can cover the sky and block the sun. It can isolate spiritual power and block sight. This is a special bomb that is more powerful than smoke bombs. Once used, the enemy will no longer be able to track them. Human, wait for me, I will be back. Shark 17 roared, and taking advantage of this short gap, his whole body jumped and instantly left the ship. He jumped into the sea, splashing a large amount of waves. Damn, Shark 17 ran away. What should we do? This is the soul of the Blood Shark Pirates. Yes, as long as it doesn't die, the Blood Shark Pirates can be established again at any time. Mr. Wuning, what should we do now? Seeing Shark 17 leave, everyone was worried. They turned to look at Xiaoping next to them. Xiaoping's body was wrapped in an astral energy shield. The instant the ink bomb exploded, it immediately activated, isolating all the ink from the outside of the energy shield. He wasn't affected at all, and his body was very clean from head to toe. Kill? Xiaoping said lightly, there should be a lot of pirates in the pirate ship on the opposite side. Destroy all these pirates, and when we get rid of the minions of the Blood Shark Pirates, even if there is only Shark 17 left, it won't be able to turn over any waves. His words were full of murderous intent, making people tremble. Yes, even if Shark 17 escapes, there are still those minions. Those minions are the real culprits, they have killed countless people. All pirates should die, destroy them all. Kill without mercy. Hearing this, the group of people gritted their teeth, and a terrible killing intent surged in their hearts. Let's go. Xiaoping waved his hand and immediately led a group of people to attack the pirate ship next to him. At this moment, because things happened too fast, even Shark 17 didn't have time to notify some of the pirates on the pirate ship and quickly escaped. Therefore, the pirates on the pirate ship didn't know that their elite troops had been completely destroyed at this time. Even the captain was scared and jumped into the sea, fleeing in panic. He didn't dare to stay in this place. Whiz whiz whiz. Chapter 773. At this time there were a large number of pirates on the pirate ship. They also saw humans jumping out of the ship one by one, and they even dared to attack their ship. Fuck, these humans are crazy, they dare to come to our pirate ship, are they going to line up to die? A pirate was stunned, it was the first time he saw this situation. Normally they would kill all the humans in one fell swoop. Even if they don't die, they will kneel down and beg for mercy, but now there are people who dare to attack their pirate ship. This is simply unheard of. No, that's not right. Something's not right. Where's the captain, the 4 senior officers, and the elite crew? Where did they go? Aren't they killing those human trash? Some pirates noticed that something was wrong. They didn't seem to see their captain and those elite pirates. It was as if all these elites had disappeared. Could it be that captain and the others are dead? Were they killed by those damn humans? Some pirates guessed. Killed my ass, what kind of strong person is the captain? How could he be killed by those weak humans? Yes, you are crazy, how can you have such a ridiculous idea? Little humans only deserve to be the food of us fishmen, and they want to attack us. It's simply a dream. But the question is, if the captain is not dead, then where is he now? Why didn't these humans react when they attacked? Don't tell me he is asleep. Many pirates felt a burst of bad. They felt that the ship that looked very weak at this moment was like a huge beast, devouring the elites of their Blood Shark pirate group. Whiz. At this time, Xiaoping took the lead and immediately came to the deck of the pirate ship, followed by a human elite, as if an army was pressing on the border, aggressive. Human, what are you doing here on the pirate ship? Why don't you leave quickly? Do you want to die? A pirate threatened fiercely, hoping to scare these humans. But the intimidation that was very effective before is basically useless now. No one will retreat when they hear these words. They are all looking at this group of pirates playfully. They don't know that they are going to die. These pirates are really stupid to the extreme. You want us to die? You still have a long way to go. Sleep for me. Xiaoping faintly looked at the group of pirates. His expression was indifferent, like a god walking on earth. Dong. Xiaoping immediately operated the soul-absorbing bell and stimulated the mysterious energy inside. A terrifying spiritual storm swept around, affecting every corner of the entire pirate ship. He walked forward step by step as if he was taking a leisurely stroll in a courtyard. Every step he took caused the entire pirate ship to shake violently, as if it was earth-shattering and had reversed the universe. Xiaoping was like a god. His every step was more terrifying than the last. The water vapor was evaporating. Ah! In the face of this mental storm, even Captain Shark 17 couldn't resist it. So how could the remaining pirates resist it? They were immediately attacked in the depths of their souls. One by one they let out shrill screams, clutching their heads as they fell to the ground, howling madly. Some of the weaker mere people even fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth, and their eyeballs turned white. They directly fainted, twitching incessantly, unable to move. Kill. A group of humans took out all kinds of weapons, broadswords, spears, hammers and other cold weapons. There were also laser guns and other firearms. They were like tigers entering a flock of sheep, constantly harvesting. Dealing with these unconscious mere people who fell to the ground and screamed, it was simply a one-sided slaughter. He didn't need to do anything else. With a swing of his saber he chopped off his head. Blood spurted out like a fountain, dyeing the deck red and dripping with fresh blood. In just 10 minutes all the pirates on the pirate ship were killed, not a single one was left alive, but on the human side not a single one died and even injuries were rare. Devour. At this moment, Xia Ping didn't follow the others to annihilate the remaining pirates. He stood on the deck and operated the energy in his body. At this moment, his soul seemed to have turned into a dark vortex, emerging from the void. This is a vision that human eyes can't see. Under such a dark vortex, the dead merpeople's souls turned into gray energy that was quickly absorbed by the vortex. It crazily devoured, refined, absorbed and then transformed into pure soul energy. This is the soul-devouring power he obtained from the soul-devouring beast. Whenever a creature is killed, the moment before they die, they will always disperse a large amount of soul energy. Under normal circumstances, they will disappear from this world and return to nature. But with the unique ability of the soul-devouring beast, it can absorb the dispersed soul energy, constantly refining it, and then transforming it into soul energy that suits its own, strengthening its own soul force. What a rich soul force. Xia Ping closed his eyes. He felt a warm current coming from all directions, like a small river, pouring into the depths of his soul, constantly strengthening his soul force. He felt his soul seemed to be growing little by little, thriving. Even if it doesn't increase his aura energy, it can still increase his soul force. This is an unprecedented benefit. In the distant sea, a dozen kilometers away, Shark 17 floated up, his face gloomy to the extreme. He looked at his pirate ship in flames, its flag collapsed, and its screams gradually weakened. He knew that this time all the pirates that followed him were finished. With that despicable and shameless human here, it was impossible for any of his subordinates to survive. Damn human Wu Neng, I won't let you go, I absolutely won't. Shark 17 gnashed his teeth, his heart dripping blood. His elite officers were all dead, his pirate ship was lost and he himself was seriously injured. This was an unprecedented loss. It could be said that his decades of accumulation were all gone today. If he could, he simply wanted to immediately dismember that human's corpse into 1,000 pieces. But he felt a faint pain in his body. The human's palm strike had almost shattered his lungs. If it weren't for the powerful body of a shark, that palm would have been enough to send him to the Western paradise. Even if he wanted to retaliate now, it would be impossible. Human Wu Neng, I will remember you. The next time we meet, it will be the day of your death. Shark 17 gnashed his teeth. He had never suffered such a big loss in his life. Chapter 774. Mr. Wu, thank you so much. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to take revenge. After cleaning up all the pirates on the pirate ship, a group of people came to Xia Ping and all of them showed gratitude and excitement. If Xia Ping didn't take action, it was estimated that with their strength, they would be just a dish in front of these pirates. Some of them even looked ashamed. Just now, they thought that this young man was a fake, a playboy who only knew how to use his family's money to make a name for himself. They didn't expect his strength to be so terrifying. Even if he was alone, he could destroy a group of pirates. Such strength was not something small people like them could criticize. They were simply gauging the heart of a gentleman with their own mean measures. You're too polite. It's nothing. Everyone has the right to kill pirates. This is also the duty of us martial artists. Xia Ping waved his hand, showing a very humble look. As expected of Mr. Wu, you're really a master. If there were a few more grandmasters like Mr. Wu in the endless sea, there would be no need to worry about the pirates. That's right. It's a pity that Shark 17 slipped away. Otherwise we could really wipe them all out. Some people felt that it was a pity. They were just one step away from killing Shark 17, but at the critical moment they still let that bastard escape. Was really a pity. If they could kill Shark 17 while they were at it, it would be perfect. Don't worry. Shark 17 can't escape. His whereabouts have long been exposed. Even if he escapes to the ends of the earth, I can catch him, Xia Ping said lightly, his eyes shining. If he wanted to kill Shark 17, he would have already done so. Even if he took out that bomb, he wouldn't be able to escape. But if he killed Shark 17 now, the other party's nest and the treasures in it would never see the light of day. How could he do such a thing to waste treasures? Therefore he let Shark 17 escape back to his nest. Then Xiaoping followed them all the way to their lair and took all the treasures in one go. What? Did Mr. Wu install a tracking device on him? Sure enough, Mr. Wu. That's amazing. In this way Shark 17 is dead. Mr. Wu got rid of a big threat for everyone. Everyone was shocked. They looked at Xiaoping with incomparable surprise. This was far beyond their expectations. Everyone, let's part ways here. Xiaoping looked at the crowd. Although the previous cruise ship is broken, there is a pirate ship here. You can use this ship to go back to the port. And I will chase after Shark 17. Although he didn't install a tracking device on Shark 17, he still remembered the other party's scent. Then he used the 10,000 miles tracking technique to quickly find the other party's whereabouts. No matter how that fellow fled, he would not be able to escape his pursuit. What? Everyone was incomparably shocked. They wanted to ask Xiaoping how he was going to chase after Shark 17, but before they could ask, Xiaoping interrupted them. Boom! A small battleship immediately descended from the sky. It was completely silver and looked like a goddess of the moon. It gave off a dazzling radiance and looked incredibly holy. This warship was none other than the moon god. It also came out with Xiaoping. Through the invisibility system, it hid its body and floated in the air, merging with the clouds. It could support him at any time just in case. Even if an old monster from the Blood Shark Pirates appears, he can use the power of the battleship to annihilate the other party. He has already prepared a complete plan. Whoosh. In the next second, a white beam of light descended from the battleship, creating a huge traction force. In an instant, Xiaoping was pulled up and soon disappeared from everyone's eyes. Everyone was stunned as they watched Xiaoping board the battleship and leave this place. At this time, in another sea area, a battleship was sailing fast. More than 20 grandmasters appeared on it, wearing red military uniforms with the word Sin on the back. They were surrounded by a blood-red murderous aura. These grandmasters were at least at the first sky of Grandmaster Realm, and the strongest was at the fourth sky of Grandmaster Realm. Moreover, each of them looked fierce, with hooked noses and slanted eyes. They didn't look like good people. If Xiaoping was here, he would definitely recognize 2 or 3 of these grandmasters. They were Zhang Ziang, Qin Boning, and Xia Sinlin. Impressively, they were one of the group of core students who were punished by the giant company during the genius battle because of Xiaoping. They were banished to the endless sea and forced to join the sinful army. Captain Zhang. A man with a knife scar opened his mouth and said, "Is the news true? Is the nest of the Blood Shark Pirates, which is ranked 98th in the endless sea, really in this foggy island nearby?" Zhang Ziang nodded and said, "It's true. Our sinful army captured an elite member of the Blood Shark Pirates before. After torture he finally broke down and told us." Not only did he tell us the location of the Blood Shark Pirates, but also the distribution of their forces. This information is undoubtedly correct. It's a great opportunity for our sinful army to annihilate the Blood Shark Pirates. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes. If it's true, we can kill these pirates. How many credits and elixirs can we get? Maybe we can leave the sinful army soon. He was extremely excited and clenched his fists. Don't dream. If you want to leave the sinful army, you need an astronomical number of credits. There may be a slight possibility of killing the top 50 pirate groups. Just killing the Blood Shark Pirates is far from enough. Zhang Ziang sneered. The man with a knife scar was very helpless. He also knew that Zhang Ziang was right. The higher the ranking of the pirate group, the more terrifying their strength. Their captains are all kings. It's no different from a dream to annihilate a pirate of this level. If they encounter such a pirate, they won't even have time to escape. Most of the people who join the sinful army are villains, murderers, robbers, or criminals who have committed various felonies. Under normal circumstances, they are bound to die. But in order to maximize their value, the government still let them join the sinful army and use their merits to make up for their mistakes. However, it's not so simple to get credit and save yourself from death. Such credit alone is enough to make these criminals desperate. But it's rumored that the head of the Blood Shark Pirates is a master of the 4th level of the Supreme Power Realm. Moreover, he has many strong subordinates. He even arranged many backups in his nest. Qin Boning said in a deep voice, "Even if we know the location of the enemy's nest, if we go in rashly, we won't be able to kill him. Instead, we may be killed by him." Chapter 775. Don't worry about this. Zhang Ziang smiled slightly. Now the enemy is in the light and we are in the dark. It is a great opportunity. We don't need to fight them head-on. In order to deal with the blood shark pirates, I prepared a bottle of jellyfish venom. This kind of venom, as long as one drop, its toxicity can poison tens of thousands of lives. Even a grandmaster can't resist it. At that time, we sneak into the blood shark pirates' lair and secretly poison their water source. This poison is colorless and tasteless. Those pirates will never find it. When these pirates die of poison, then we will make a move. I think we can catch them. He took out a bottle of transparent poison. Amazing, as expected of Captain Jiang, you can even take out this kind of poison. It must be valuable. Captain Jiang is a descendant of the famous Jiang family. It's child's play to take out this kind of strange poison. It seems that following Captain Jiang is the right thing to do. We are lucky. The people present were flattering Zhang Xiang again and again. They admired Zhang Xiang very much and their eyes lit up. Everyone was very convinced and thought that it was easy to kill those pirates. They are all real villains, murderers, the kind of people who do all kinds of evil. All of them are unruly. It is not so easy to convince them. The reason why Zhang Xiang can become the captain of this team is not only because he is strong enough, but also because his family's power can provide him with a lot of help, which greatly increases the chance of survival. Therefore, these members have to be convinced and let Zhang Xiang be the captain and listen to his orders. This plan is good. At that time, we don't need to spend any effort to annihilate this group of pirates, and we don't need to fight with them. You are indeed Brother Zhang. Qin Boning admired him and his eyes showed a trace of greed. I heard that this pirate group has been running rampant in the endless sea for decades. I don't know how much wealth they have plundered. They are extremely rich. If we can annihilate this pirate group, I don't know how many elixirs, and all kinds of treasures we can get. It seems that we are going to make a fortune this time. He wanted to take the treasures of this pirate group as his own. Make a fart. Sha Senlin sneered. If we dare to run away with these treasures, the smart iron rings on our necks will be detonated in less than 3 seconds. We will die without a whole body. How can we run? Are we courting death? He pointed at the silver steel ring around his neck. This silver steel ring was tightly tied around his neck, like Sun Wukong's band-tightening spell. There was no way to get rid of it, and it was also equipped with terrifying explosives. Once it detonated, it would be enough to blow them into pieces. This was also a method prepared by the Sin army. After all, the people who joined the Sin army were basically all prisoners on death row. They wanted to escape at all times, so the higher-ups installed self-exploding steel rings on them. If he discovered anyone trying to escape, he would immediately detonate it and kill the prisoner. Up until now, none of the prisoners had been able to escape with this method. Once they tried to escape, they would be detonated and killed on the spot, leaving nothing behind. Hearing this, the expressions of the surrounding people became gloomy. They also felt very displeased. This thing was no different from a dog's necklace. It controlled one's life and death, and there was no way to resist. There's no need to be so nervous. Zhang Xiang waved his hand. Why do we need to escape with these treasures? In fact, we can fill our own pockets and swallow most of the treasures of these pirates. Anyway, it's impossible for the higher-ups to know how many treasures there are in the pirate group. We can just randomly say a number or say that when we escape, the pirates will detonate the treasury and all the treasures will be gone. They can't do anything about it. With these training resources, our training speed will be faster. Even if we become the king, we will have a higher chance. At that time, we can openly leave the Sin army. The eyes of the surrounding people brightened, and they felt that it was very reasonable. Yes, Captain Zhang is right. This sentence is very reasonable. Why can't we fill our own pockets? People must know how to fish. If they don't, they would have starved to death long ago. Indeed, relying on the provisions given by the Sin army, when will it be enough for us to train? A horse won't get fat without grass at night, and a man won't get rich without a windfall. No wonder he is the son of a rich man. The young master of the Jiang family is indeed better at making money than us uncouth people. Just a random idea can make our brains full of fat. One by one, the grandmasters nodded and felt that this idea was good. Their eyes lit up, and they couldn't wait to immediately break into the blood shark pirates' nest and wantonly plunder. Yes, we must leave the Sin army as soon as possible. Every time we carry out a mission, we don't know when it will end. If we are unlucky, I'm afraid we will really die. Qin Boning nodded and his face was solemn. After they joined the Sin army, every time they carried out an extremely dangerous mission. If they were not fighting with fierce and cruel pirates, they would enter a dangerous place to explore. Until now, several core students who joined the Sin army with them had died under the mission again and again. If they were unlucky and encountered a dangerous enemy, it was estimated that they would die like this. Damn, it's all that hateful Xiaoping's fault. If it weren't for this son of a bitch who did all kinds of evil and made trouble out of nothing, we wouldn't have ended up like this. Sha Sinlin gnashed his teeth. Qin Boning clenched his fists. I heard that he is doing very well now, and he made a name for himself in the celestial demon battlefield. He extorted many demon kings and obtained several trillion in wealth. He is simply overflowing with wealth. It is said that he has become a core member of the giant corporation and a core student of Yanhuang University. He has a bright future and many big shots think highly of him. Now he has come to the giant city of the Endless Sea, and he plans to come here to train and advance to the King realm. When he thought of his current experience and compared it with Xiaoping's glorious resume and incomparably bright future, he was so angry that his teeth itched. He simply wanted to catch Xiaoping immediately and peel his skin and tendons. Advance my ass. Zhang Ziang, who was originally wise and steady, couldn't help but curse when he heard the name Xiaoping. He was a little flustered and exasperated. If he eats shit, he still wants to advance to the King realm. Why doesn't he go to heaven? Does he think that the King realm is some strange realm that anyone can advance to? Although his talent is good, there are many talented geniuses in this world, but they are also stuck in this realm, unable to break through for dozens of years. I think that kid is no exception. He cursed fiercely. Alright, don't talk about that son of a bitch. It's bad luck just talking about it. It's like we met some god of plague. Sha Senlin's face was gloomy and dark as if he had eaten shit. Just you wait. That kid is also in the Endless Sea. If I meet him, he will definitely die. I will risk my life to kill him. Qin Boning was full of killing intent. Of course we have to kill him, but let's not care about this now. We should quickly go to the Blood Shark Pirate's nest and fill our pockets. Zhang Ziang also calmed down. Whoosh. Chapter 776. In midair, the moon god is flying slowly. At this time, Xiaoping is sitting cross-legged in the practice room of the moon god, running qigong, carefully understanding the gains he has made during this period, and then digesting and absorbing them into his own martial arts. By the way, Xiaoping clenched his fists. It's time to exchange for the 4th level of the Dark North Body Protection Technique and the 7 Arrows Technique. I should be able to cultivate them when I reach the Supreme Power Realm. He is looking forward to it. These two techniques have surpassed the king level. He doesn't know what realm they have reached. If he can comprehend them carefully, he will definitely gain a lot. Ding! Immediately, Xiaoping's mind moved and immediately exchanged for the 4th level of these two techniques. He spent a total of 40 million hatred points, and he still has 215 million hatred points left. This hatred point is already a drop in the bucket for him. Rumble, the moment the exchange was successful, the majestic information immediately poured into Xiaoping's mind, and countless mysterious words and images flashed in the depths of his soul, making him remember it very deeply. This is enlightenment. So, this is the 4th level of the Dark North Body Protection Technique. Xiaoping ran the new Qigong roadmap, and he found that the 4th level was more than 10 times stronger than the 3rd level. Before, it was just the way of true essence, but now it is the way of Gang Qi. Not to mention anything else, the density of the condensed Qi shield is many times stronger than before. If you have to compare it, it was just pig iron before, but now it is steel that has been tempered. When Xiaoping ran the 4th level of the Dark North Body Protection Technique, the Gang Qi condensed and turned into an Qi shield. A large amount of black aura seemed to appear, as if his whole body was surrounded, condensing into a small black hole. Any power attack on this black Qi shield will be quickly swallowed like a kunpeng, swallowing and nibbling, absorbing all the energy clean. Too strong. Xiaoping's eyes showed a glimmer of light. If the 3rd level of the technique is only to rebound the enemy's power, then the 4th level of the technique is to absorb. This is not an ordinary absorption, but does not distinguish any energy or any substance, like a divine beast Tao Tai, absorbing all the power of the opponent's attack and turning it into his own. If it is the previous Dark North Body Protecting Art, when it encounters some special energy attacks, it cannot be absorbed at all. It will be indigestible, and it can only be transferred to other places, constantly unloading the tyrannical force. If it couldn't be dispelled, it would harm the body and cause serious damage to the lungs. But now it was completely different. He operated the Dark North Body Protection Art. It was as if he had smelted a black hole, swallowing everything. Any attack power would be devoured cleanly and completely refined. The fourth level of the head-nailing 7 arrows art is also extremely powerful. Xia Ping clenched his fists tightly. He discovered that this cultivation method's use of stellar energy was simply exquisite to the extreme. It had reached a perfect realm and was almost miraculous. Shio. With a thought, he instantly channeled his gang qi and condensed it into a dagger. He immediately threw it out. With a thud, it instantly hit a wooden board 100 meters away from the practice room and nailed it accurately on it. However, the moment the dagger was shot out, it seemed to disappear without a trace. It was as if it had disappeared from this world, and when it reappeared, it was in another dimension. Xia Ping was also shocked by this attack. Although he had only used a portion of his strength, he was still shocked by this martial skill. This is the supreme way of assassination. The attack was silent and there was not even a murderous aura. It was as if it was hidden in space. It was estimated that the enemy's heart would be pierced, and the enemy would not know what was going on. He would not even know how he died. It can be said that such a realm has touched a trace of the mystery of space, and the skill is close to the Tao. Previously, Xia Ping listened to the system's introduction. The most profound realm of this cultivation method could nail the enemy across countless spaces. He was a little skeptical and wondered how there could be such a tyrannical martial skill. But now that he has touched a trace of the mystery of the supreme assassination, he seems to have opened the door to a new world, as if the power above the king has also touched a trace. Boom, I don't know how long it took. Xia Ping continued to comprehend these two cultivation methods. Ran Qigong, and the Gang Qi in the Dantian Sea of Qi also underwent a great transformation. At this moment, his entire body seemed to have turned into a black hole, and a giant Kunpeng appeared behind him. It opened its mouth and swallowed, and the surrounding heaven and earth Yuan Qi crazily surged into the Kunpeng. Boundless energy also flowed through his 108,000 pores, instantly entering his Dantian Sea of Qi. After being refined by the solar furnace, it rapidly transformed into Gang Qi. This Gang Qi was like a flood dragon, swimming around his meridians and roaring, resonating with the blood and Qi in his body, producing an inconceivable amount of energy. When this new Gang Qi reached a certain level, almost reaching the limit of his body's capacity, one acupoint after another was instantly opened, as if some door had been smashed. Bang bang bang. Immediately, 2 or 3 acupoints were smashed open, completely opened. Large amounts of Gang Qi seemed to have found their home, and madly surged into them. After being refined by the pure Yang immortal art, this Gang Qi was stained with the pure Yang aura, transforming into numerous hell crows that resided in the depths of the acupoints, crying out. At the same time, Xia Ping's strength and mental energy also increased bit by bit. By the time he opened his eyes, the sun had already risen. It was high in the sky and the night had passed just like that. However, he wasn't tired at all. Instead, he was in high spirits, feeling unprecedentedly good. After cultivating these two peerless cultivation techniques, Xia Ping felt that he was a lot stronger than before. At the same time, he had also thoroughly consolidated his martial Tao foundation. It's about time to track Shark 17. I reckon that he has already returned to his lair. I can't let him escape. Xia Ping clenched his fists. He finally began to track Shark 17. In the blink of an eye, another 4 hours passed. He followed Shark 17's scent, and after flying for who knew how many kilometers, he finally arrived at a place. Oh, this is the place? Xia Ping sat on the battleship, and through the battleship's scanning system, he immediately saw the scenery below. In the distance, he saw a unique sea region, and the surroundings were filled with black fog. People's eyes couldn't see anything more than 3 meters away, but with the battleship's scanning system, he could barely see a portion of it. There were many islands and reefs in this sea region, and if an ordinary ship entered, it would definitely crash. Chapter 777. It's indeed a good place to hide. Xia Ping looked at the foggy island. If he didn't have the 10,000-mile tracking technique, he probably wouldn't be able to track Shark 17. Even if he really followed the other party to this island with the natural fog, people who were not familiar with this place would be at a loss. Even if he brought 100,000 troops, they might be buried. Taking a step back, the enemy's strength is too tyrannical. The blood shark pirates can rely on this dangerous place to escape without worrying about being surrounded by the enemy. Go in. Xia Ping jumped off the battleship. He placed the battleship in midair and sneaked into the foggy island alone. In an instant, he disappeared into the endless fog. For ordinary people, it is easy to get lost in such a fog, but he has the golden crow's eye, which can see through all illusions and even has the power of X-ray vision. A mere fog is nothing to him. The aura seems to be interrupted here. Xiaoping tracked all the way to a remote reef. This place seems to be a whirlpool of seawater, surrounded by many reefs, making this place form a lake of tens of kilometers. The surrounding black fog lingered, and from time to time, there would be raging waves hitting the shore. It seems to be a dangerous place without any signs of human habitation. What's going on? Shark 17's aura disappeared in this place, but there is no place to hide around. Where is he hiding? Xiaoping looked around, but he didn't find any trace of the blood shark pirate's lair. With a bang, he subconsciously used the golden crow's eye of hell. Immediately, a special energy gushed out of his eyes, as if a sun was rotating in his pupils. Soon, a golden light shot out and instantly penetrated the fog in this area. Shockingly, a completely different change had occurred in this area. This dangerous lake had transformed into an enormous island that was filled with the singing of birds and the fragrance of flowers. It was lush and verdant, and it was even to the extent that there were countless forts and luxurious buildings standing in a forest. So that's how it is. Xiaoping suddenly realized, this is also a natural formation. It has an illusion which is integrated with the surrounding reefs and seawater, resulting in all kinds of illusions. I reckon that even a grandmaster would not be able to tell that there is a huge island hidden here. If it wasn't for my golden crow's eye of hell, which allows me to see through illusions, I might have really been fooled. Thinking of this, he stepped on the surface of the sea and walked toward the entrance of the formation without hesitation. Xiaoping immediately sensed some sort of invisible power blocking his path, but he quickly drew on his energy arts and unleashed Empyrean energy that shattered the power. In the next second he disappeared on the spot and appeared on an island. This is the lair of the blood shark pirates. After Xiaoping entered the island, he found that the island was not small. It was estimated to be dozens of kilometers in diameter, and there were many buildings everywhere, including luxurious palaces and beautiful houses. In this era, building a house couldn't be simpler. A 3D printed machine could be used to build it in a day, no matter how beautiful it was. Although the seafloor race did not have the technology that humans had, they could trade, which was equivalent to having the technology to build all sorts of buildings at any time. When Xiaoping broke the formation and forced his way through, the air was filled with strong energy fluctuations. Immediately, the pirates who lived here discovered it and were immediately alarmed. Who is it? How dare you trespass on the Blood Shark Island? Do people nowadays have no idea of death? Enemy attack, enemy attack. Quickly send people over to encircle and annihilate the enemy. Everyone pay attention, there is only one enemy. What? Only one person dares to trespass on the Blood Shark Island? Does he want to die? Kill him. Skin him and pull out his tendons. Teach this invader a lesson. Kill the chicken to scare the monkey. Suddenly, the pirates on the Blood Shark Island shouted and clamored madly. They only had one way to deal with the invader, and that was to kill without mercy. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the blink of an eye, the pirates on the Blood Shark Island swarmed out like locusts. There were at least hundreds and thousands of pirates appearing, which looked very astonishing. Although Shark 17 had brought a considerable number of elites to sneak attack before, there were also many pirate elites left on the island to guard the door. This was a number that should not be underestimated. Ordinary warriors entering this place was simply entering a dragon's pool and tiger's den. Xiaoping would not hold back. These pirates did all kinds of evil and killed people like flies. The number of innocent people who died in their hands was enough to form a small mountain. It would not be an exaggeration to say that there was a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Even if these pirates died 10,000 times, it would not be a pity. Soul-sucking bell. He took a step forward and poured his psychic power into the soul-sucking bell. Previously, he had absorbed the souls of a large number of dead pirates, which greatly increased his soul power. The power of the soul-sucking bell also increased with it, covering a radius of 2 to 3 kilometers. Boom. In an instant, with Xiaoping's body as the center, a huge psychic shock was produced, sweeping in all directions like a wave, pushing forward layer by layer. Bang bang bang. Facing such a psychic attack, these pirates were more fragile than babies. It was as if their souls were being attacked by swords and spears, almost tearing their souls apart. One by one they let out mournful screams. Some were foaming at the mouth and fell to the ground unconscious. Some were holding their heads and rolling on the ground, screaming in pain. Some were bleeding from their 7 orifices. They were seriously injured and turned into idiots. Go to hell. Xiaoping grabbed with his big hand, and the pure yang immortal art on his body operated. A large number of flames gushed out from the 108,000 pores under his control. Black fireballs suddenly appeared in the air. This was the fireball bomb he learned from the Sky Demon battlefield. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. With a backhand slap, these black fireballs flew quickly like a big bird. In an instant they smashed into these pirates and immediately caused a shocking explosion. Rumble, the explosive power of these black fireballs was extremely strong. All of a sudden, a huge deep pit was blasted out and the soil was splattered everywhere. The surrounding buildings were blasted by the shock wave and collapsed, turning into ruins. And the pirates were the most miserable. Originally they were knocked unconscious by the soul-sucking bell and had no power to resist. Now that they were attacked by the black fireballs, their whole bodies were blown into pieces. One by one the pirates were blown into meat sauce and there were no bones left. In just a few breaths, none of the pirates present could stand up. They were either killed on the spot or seriously injured. Bastard. At this time Shark 17, who was in the depths of the palace, finally couldn't sit still. He instantly jumped out and arrived in front of Xiaoping like a cannonball. Chapter 778. How did you find Blood Shark Island? Shark 17's eyes almost popped out of their sockets when he saw Xiaoping again. The location of Blood Shark Island was extremely well hidden. Shark 17 had even taken a detour on his way back to confuse people and cut off all tracking. Even if the other party managed to find the location of Blood Shark Island, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to pinpoint the exact location of Blood Shark Island, as it was a natural maze formation. Not to mention, Blood Shark Island itself was covered by a formation. It was the most hidden of all secrets. But this kid was actually able to accurately find this place. This was simply unimaginable. If this guy wasn't a human, Shark 17 would have thought that there was a spy on his side. It doesn't matter how you found it. You just need to know one thing, and that is that you will die today. Xiaoping looked at Shark 17 indifferently, his eyes filled with killing intent. You want me, Shark 17, to die? Puny human, do you think you're qualified? Shark 17 roared and instantly took out a blood-colored flag. Suddenly, the entire world seemed to be filled with a terrifying blood aura that covered the sky and covered the earth. Vaguely, with the blood-red flag as the center, a radius of 2 to 3 kilometers was surrounded by the blood-red aura. It was as if they had fallen into an endless hell. The weeds and trees on the ground seemed to be corroded by the blood-red aura. They rapidly withered and turned into withered grass. Or rather, they were withered wood that had their life force sucked away. Even the yellow ground seemed to be corroded and turned red. The corpses of the dead pirates seemed to be completely devoured and turned into blood-red aura. Then this aura was madly absorbed by the flag. Ghostly wails and wolf-like howls could be heard in the void. Skeletons also appeared on the ground. Treasure? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He could immediately tell that the blood-red flag was a treasure. Moreover, it was a demonic treasure with boundless power and terrifying destructive might. Are you afraid? Shark 17 sneered. Don't think that you're the only one with a treasure. I didn't bring the blood fiend flag with me. That's why you got what you wanted. Now that I have a treasure, how can a puny human like you be a match for me? Boom! As soon as it finished speaking, it waved the flag of evil in its hand. With a wave of the flag, a bloody wind was created. The wind howled and ghosts cried. This baleful blood aura was one of the most sinister auras in the world. Once it came into contact with a living being, it would immediately have a terrifying effect of corroding the body and soul. Even stellar energy could not withstand it, and it specialized in breaking stellar energy. By relying on this flag, Shark 17 was simply invincible. He slaughtered in all directions and moved unhindered through the ocean, and he didn't know how to behead his enemies. It was a powerful supreme treasure. However, in order to maximize the power of this blood fiend flag, it had to use the blood and souls of living beings as a sacrifice, merging them into the flag and transforming them into blood fiend chi. Because of this, every time it went out to sea to plunder, it would kill everyone and use ordinary people as sacrifices to refine its blood fiend flag and increase its power. For the sake of this treasure, it had killed people like flies, and it was unknown just how many lives it had harmed. Die. Shark 17's expression was ferocious. He circulated the demonic energy in his body and poured it all into the flag. He hated Xiaoping to the extreme, and he wanted nothing more than to peel off his skin and pull out his tendons. If it wasn't for this hateful human, he wouldn't be in such a miserable state. Countless of his elite subordinates had died tragically, and his proud subordinates had been killed. The power he had built up over the years had been destroyed in a day. This was no less than the hatred of killing one's father and stealing one's wife. When the flag moved, it seemed to attract the baleful blood aura in the world, forming a blood fiend flood dragon. It roared loudly and attacked Xia Ping, trying to devour him completely. The rocks on the ground were instantly shaken into powder. Along the way, countless weeds and trees were completely corroded, and all their vitality was stolen. Dark North Body Protection Art. Facing this treasure that specialized in breaking stellar energy, Xia Ping was unmoved. He circulated the Dark North Body Protection Art, and a Kuan Peng appeared behind him. It flew around the world like a supreme divine beast had descended. It opened its mouth and swallowed. It seemed like Xia Ping's body had turned into a black hole, producing an extreme suction force. What? This human has gone mad. Shark 17's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. When ordinary humans faced this baleful blood aura, which one of them wouldn't flee in panic, afraid that they would be corroded by the baleful blood aura and damage their martial foundations. But this brat was so arrogant that he had no boundaries. He actually took the initiative to devour the baleful blood aura. If Shark 17 hadn't seen the intelligence of this human before, he would have thought that this human had gone mad. Rumble Xia Ping didn't care about Shark 17's shock. After cultivating the 4th level of the Dark North Body Protection Art, his defensive abilities had reached an inconceivable level. Even if this baleful blood aura had miraculous effects on ordinary life forms, it was useless against him. Once all the strange energies entered his body, they would be completely refined and absorbed by the sun furnace. Shark 17 was simply dreaming if he wanted to use the baleful blood aura to deal with him. Walala. At this moment he was like a Kuan Peng swallowing everything in its path. The majestic baleful blood aura was devoured into his stomach, and all of it was poured into the sun furnace. The essence of the sun, the fire of life, and various other flames burned within the sun furnace. In an instant, the sinister energy within the baleful blood aura was completely refined and expelled through his pores. Only the energy that was beneficial to the human body was left. Bang! After obtaining such an abundant amount of energy, Xia Ping's astral chi increased greatly. He actually took advantage of this opportunity to break through another acupoint, refining his body and strengthening his astral chi. Fuck, he can really absorb it, and he even became stronger. This human is simply a monster. Is there any justice in this world? What exactly is the human body made of? Shark 17 was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. He had used the blood fiend flag precisely to kill this damned human. But who would have thought that the baleful blood aura was completely useless against this human? Instead, it was completely absorbed by him, and at the same time his cultivation base and astral chi were also strengthened. This was simply giving aid to the enemy, helping the enemy become stronger. Shark 17 felt that there was nothing more sullen than this. It was simply unheard of. Flee! Shark 17's face turned green. Even the blood fiend flag couldn't kill this human. What other methods did he have? If he continued to stay here, he would most likely be killed by this human, and even his head would be taken away. He instantly put away the blood fiend flag, and the entire world revolved, wrapping around his body. In an instant, he borrowed the power of the blood fiend flag to transform into a tornado, fleeing into the distance. His fleeing speed was extremely fast, breaking through the sound barrier. Chapter 779. Just you wait, damned human, Shark 17 said hatefully. You actually killed me like a stray dog. I must take revenge. When I return to the Shark clan, I'll gather all my brothers and send an army to the border. The next time we meet, I'll make sure your blood flows like a river and you pay the price of destroying the world. You killed one of my brothers, so I'll kill a ship full of humans. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, blood for blood. His hatred was overflowing and he wanted to take revenge after leaving. Even if he couldn't kill this human Xia Ping, he would kill those ordinary humans. He had to take revenge, or else he wouldn't be able to swallow this anger. Still want to run? Dream on. Xia Ping's eyes flashed with a cold light. He moved his body and circulated his qigong. His astral energy surged and condensed into an extremely sharp dagger. Under the sunlight, it flickered with a cold light as if it could cut through iron like mud. What is this thing? Shark 17 didn't know why, but he instinctively felt that the dagger was extremely dangerous. It was as if he was being targeted by the scythe of the Grim Reaper. No matter where he ran, he couldn't escape. He felt that his entire body was enveloped by this human's mental power. His chi was locked and he had nowhere to run. Faster, faster. Shark 17 gritted his teeth and frantically activated the Blood Evil flag. A terrifying blood evil energy wrapped around his body, forming a gale that he fled into the distance. It was like a hurricane sweeping through everything. Along the way, a shocking mark was left on the ground. Soil flew in all directions and buildings on the island collapsed. Head-nailing 7 arrows art, die for me. Xia Ping activated the head-nailing 7 arrows art, and his mental power instantly permeated the dagger, reaching the realm of being one with it. He completely fused with it and resonated with heaven and earth. Whoosh! In an instant the dagger was thrown out and disappeared. It was as if the dagger had escaped into the void and entered another dimension. There wasn't even a sound of it tearing through the air. In the next second, the dagger appeared in front of Shark 17. How is this possible? Shark 17's hair stood on end, and he had goosebumps all over his body. He never thought that a hidden weapon could get so close to him without him noticing. This was simply impossible. Because one had reached Zhongshe realm, one would possess an extremely high spiritual sense. With the spread of one's mental energy, one would be able to detect even the slightest movement in the surroundings. However, at this moment one could not detect anything at all. This was simply the strongest assassination technique, a peerless blade. In fact, this dagger was not simple at all. It was condensed from Xia Ping's astral energy and compressed to the extreme. Once it exploded, its power would be boundless. Even a grandmaster would be killed on the spot. Dong. In the blink of an eye, the dagger was indestructible. It pierced through Shark 17's protective astral energy and shattered the blood aura around him. Ah! Shark 17 let out a blood-curdling scream. His body was in midair and he couldn't dodge at all. He could only watch as the dagger pierced his body. When it wanted to activate the power of the Blood Fiend flag, it would completely shatter this dagger. But unexpectedly, after the dagger entered Shark 17's body, it immediately expanded, and the tyrannical stellar energy exploded on the spot. It was as if several hundred tons of explosives had exploded at the same time. Boom. In the blink of an eye, Shark 17's huge body exploded into pieces. Blood sprayed all over the ground as if it was free, dyeing the entire area red. His limbs were scattered in all directions, and a huge cloud of mist rose into the air like a mushroom. The endless airflow condensed into substance and turned into shock waves that swept in all directions, crushing the nearby buildings and razing them to the ground. Even the stones were turned to dust. The Blood Fiend flag in his hand fell to the ground. Shark 17 was dead. He's finally dead. Xia Ping stood on the ground and grabbed the Blood Fiend flag with one hand. Using his astral energy with the other, he grabbed Shark 17's head and placed it on the ground. The head of the pirate boss was very important because it was proof that he had completed the mission. Only by bringing Shark 17's head back to the company could he prove that he had completed the mission. Without the head, it would take a lot of effort to prove that he had completed the mission. At this moment, many Zhongshe realm masters suddenly appeared in midair. They were like a huge bird that controlled the airflow and flew over at an extremely fast speed. When they saw the large number of corpses on the ground and Shark 17's head, they were all overjoyed. Haha, I didn't expect our luck to be so good this time. We just arrived at the Blood Fiend Island and we ran into this group of pirates. They're all dead. Heaven is helping me. Heaven is really helping me. As the saying goes, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Kid, hand over the Blood Fiend flag immediately and we will spare your life. Each and every one of the Zhongshe realm masters was ruthless. They actually attacked Xia Ping in an instant. Tyrannical astral energy vibrated and condensed into large swords, ropes, flying swords and even big hands. These astral energies bombarded Xia Ping with the power to raise the entire area to the ground. Who is it? Xia Ping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. He didn't expect that a group of Zhongshe realm masters would appear at this time. It was obvious that this group of Zhongshe realm masters were not members of the Blood Shark pirates, nor were they reinforcements. Like him, they were also people who planned to attack the Blood Shark pirates. However, he didn't expect that right after he killed the Blood Shark pirates, this group of people would attack him. It seemed that they wanted to take advantage of the situation and be the oriole that appeared last. But how could Xia Ping let this group of people do this? He had worked hard and used several schemes just to complete the task of killing this group of pirates, plundering their treasures and making a windfall. Now, these people wanted to take advantage of the situation without doing anything. They even planned to kill people and take their treasures. How could he tolerate this kind of thing? In this world, people who could take advantage of him had not been born yet. In the blink of an eye, Xiaoping immediately attacked. With a palm strike, all the astral energy in his body burst out. It was earth-shattering and seemed to have the power to reverse the universe. Dong. In the void, a big hand of astral energy ruthlessly attacked these forces. The two collided in a frenzy, like a comet hitting the earth, causing an earth-shattering explosion. Immediately, a huge deep pit was blasted on the ground. The soil splashed everywhere. The astral energy condensed into a substance and turned into wind blades, sweeping in all directions, abruptly leaving countless traces. The group of people didn't expect Xiaoping to be so terrifying. This kind of vigorous astral energy was incredibly powerful. It was like an avalanche. Suddenly, they were shaken to the point that their blood and qi were tumbling, and they retreated again and again. Chapter 780. Who are you? Why did you attack me so viciously? Xiaoping looked at these uninvited guests with an unfriendly expression. Just this sneak attack alone was enough for them to die 10,000 times. Xiaoping. Suddenly someone shouted, "Isn't this brat Xiaoping?" He stared at Xiaoping as if he didn't expect to see this brat at this place. This was out of his expectation. That person was Zhang Ziang, and this group of people was the sinful army. Xiaoping? The group of people looked at Xiaoping. It was the first time for many of them to see this legendary genius. It was also because of this guy that Zhang Ziang and the others, young masters of influential families, were forced to join the sinful army and become prisoners on death row. It could be said that the two sides couldn't live under the same sky. You know me? Xiaoping frowned. He didn't think that one of the people who ambushed him would recognize him. I'll recognize you even if you turn into ashes. The man gritted his teeth. You've caused us so much trouble. You and I are absolutely irreconcilable in this life. We'll fight to the death. His tone revealed a terrifying hatred. Won't rest until you die? What did I do to offend you? Who doesn't know that I'm a very upright person and rarely offends people? Did you get the wrong person? Xiaoping said that he was a good person and rarely did things that offended people. Bullshit. That person's lungs were about to explode. With your conduct, you offended everyone in the world. Which one of them didn't hate you? Many of them wanted to kill you. There were even kings. But now he was bragging that he was a good person. He was shameless to the extreme. However, what made him even more sullen was that this shameless bastard didn't recognize him. He was the one who caused him so much trouble and was sent to the border to join the sinful army. But now this brat didn't remember anything. He didn't even know his name. Was there anything more sullen than this? It was too embarrassing. If you don't remember, I'll tell you. That person gritted his teeth. I'm one of the core students that you tricked into the sinful army and sent to the endless sea. My name is Zhang Ziang. He said it word by word as if he wanted Xiaoping to remember his name for the rest of his life. So that's how it is. You guys are that group of core students from back then. I'm sorry it's been too long. I've almost forgotten about this. Xiaoping suddenly realized, but didn't you guys join the sinful army? It said that this is a death row prisoner army. Every time they carry out a mission, the death rate is as high as 99%. Why are you still alive? Could it be that they bribed you with money? He was very curious. Hearing this, Zhang Ziang and the others' faces turned green. This bastard touched their sore spot and asked them why they weren't dead yet. Wasn't he cursing them? The teammates around them all had the urge to kill Xiaoping. This bastard's mouth was too cheap. It made people unable to have even the slightest bit of good impression of him. Shut up. Zhang Ziang roared, even if you die, I'm not dead yet. You want me, Zhang Ziang, to die just like that? How could it be so easy? I don't want to die. Even God can't stop me. But I didn't expect to meet you on the Blood Shark Island. It's true that heaven's net has long arms. This is God helping me. Can be said that God still has eyes. He looked up to the sky and sighed with a feeling that his great hatred was about to be avenged. Heaven's net has long arms? You'll have a share if it's missed. Xiaoping waved his hand. Don't talk nonsense. Just now you attacked me and tried to murder me. How are you going to settle this account? He showed a look as if he was going to interrogate them. Settle your ass. Qin Boning jumped out next to him. You're lucky that we didn't kill you just now. You actually want to settle this account with us. You're simply courting death. Do you know who you're talking to now? He stared at Xia Ping angrily as if he wanted to eat him. Of course I'm talking to a person. Are you talking to a dog? Xia Ping said disdainfully, if I'm not wrong you should be the sinful army. You received a mission to destroy the blood shark pirates. But now I've beaten you to it. You've almost completed your mission. You're lucky. Otherwise, according to the strength of the blood shark pirates, it's not too much to kill you 100 times. But you're not grateful. You even want to bite the hand that feeds you and kill me. This is a great sin. Now I'm asking you for some compensation. Is it difficult for you? He looked at Qin Boning and others as if he was looking at some ungrateful and shameless villains. Bastard. Hearing these words, Zhang Xiang was so angry that his face suddenly turned red. He was furious. Xia Ping, don't think that now that you've been promoted to the Grandmaster level and have a little strength, you can act unscrupulously here. You said that with our strength, that group of pirates can kill us 100 times? You're crazy. When I was dominating the world, I didn't know which village you were hiding in. You're not qualified to look down on us. Let me tell you, no matter how glib your tongue is, you can't escape death today. He was full of murderous intent and showed his wild ambition. He thought that Xia Ping was just a martial master before. In front of him, this guy was like a piece of shit. But it didn't take long for him to be promoted to the Grandmaster level and be on an equal footing with him. Thinking of this, he was so jealous that his intestines turned green and his heart was unbalanced. In order to be promoted to the Grandmaster level, he didn't know how much effort and how much he had paid. Even so, he was trapped in this bottleneck for several years. But this kid was good. He casually broke through as if there was no such thing as a bottleneck at all. If this continued, this brat's martial arts cultivation would surpass his, and he would be sitting on top of his head. That would be a sure thing. How could he accept this? You want to kill me? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. You're the sinful army, the people of the government. You want to kill civilians. This is dereliction of duty. Aren't you afraid of being shot? He didn't expect this group of people to be so bold and dare to kill him. Shoot your sister. Qin Boning coldly laughed. We are all prisoners on death row. We will die sooner or later. Could it be that we are afraid of death now? Also, this is an isolated island with no one around. Even if we kill you and bury you here, no one will find out that we were the ones who did it. Who can punish us then? In other words, even if we kill you, your death will be in vain. No one will be able to save you. He clenched his fists tightly and cracked them. Xia Ping. A cold light flashed in Sha Senlin's eyes. There is no giant company here that can protect you. I want to see how you are going to bring out your backer. Chapter 781. Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Sha Senlin immediately attacked. He cultivated a king-level peerless technique, the Greenwood Divine Technique. It was a wood-based technique that could control the wood-based energy of heaven and earth. Go to hell, Greenwood Divine Needle. Sha Senlin roared angrily, and his first move was to kill. He operated the Gang Qi in his body, and in an instant, tiny green divine needles were condensed in mid-air. These green divine needles were condensed from wood-based energy. Their Gang Qi was extremely compressed. If they entered a person's body, they would immediately expand and turn into a giant wood, causing the person's entire body to explode. It could be said that this was an extremely vicious martial technique. Swoosh, swoosh. In an instant, a dense number of green divine needles appeared in the sky. They were like raindrops pouring down, covering Xia Ping's body. This left him with no space to dodge at all. Moreover, these green divine needles were extremely sharp and specialized in breaking through the Gang Qi. Even if one were to use a defensive technique, one would not be able to withstand it. One would be pierced in an instant, and one's entire body would be like a beehive. Xia Ping did not even look at it. He flicked his finger gently, and with a boom, the power of flames erupted instantly. It was like a meteor or a sharp arrow, extremely fast, breaking through the sound barrier. It contained the terrifying power of the essence of the sun, and it seemed to have caused a sky full of fire. Boom. In an instant, when the Greenwood divine needles came into contact with the flames, they were quickly burned. It was as if the flames had encountered diesel, and they could not be stopped. In a few breaths, these Greenwood divine needles were burned completely, turning into green smoke. What? Sha Senlin's eyes widened, and he was extremely shocked. He had not expected that his strongest martial technique would be so easily broken by this kid. It was as if he had blown off dust. Damn it. But it was not over yet. At this time Sha Senlin felt his hair stand on end, as if he was being stared at by an ancient fierce beast. Endless fear spread throughout his body like a tide, as if he was facing the threat of death. Xiaoping continued to attack. With another light flick, a condensed flame shot out instantly. It was like a bullet tearing through the air and attacking at lightning speed. Such a flame bullet was really too fast. Although it was just a light flick, the explosive speed was no less than any sniper bullet. He had just used the Azure Wood Divine Needle and had expended a lot of his strength. Furthermore, in order to maximize its power, he had deliberately approached Xiaoping. At that moment the two of them were so close to each other. Coupled with the fact that he could not recover his strength quickly, he could not block this attack at all. He could only watch helplessly as the flame bullet shot towards him. Dong. In the next second, the flame bullet sank into Sha Senlin's body. No! Sha Senlin screamed in terror. His eyes were filled with shock, panic, fear, despair and other emotions. His past life experiences flashed through his mind like a lantern. Boom! Before he could react, his body burst like a balloon. The flame bullet instantly swelled up in his body and turned into a huge fireball. His body was immediately torn apart and exploded on the spot. Flames shot out in all directions and turned his body into a pile of meat paste. The flames even burned his bones into ashes. It was normal for this to happen. Even a powerful murloc like Shark 17 was killed by Xiaoping in a few moves. Although Sha Senlin had some ability, how could he have resisted? He was killed in one move. Bastard, how dare you kill Sha Senlin? How dare you? Zhang Xiang was shocked and angry. His eyes were wide open because Xiaoping's attack was too fast. He had killed Sha Senlin in the blink of an eye. When he wanted to make a move, Sha Senlin's entire body was shattered and turned into a pile of meat paste. He could not stop it at all. The others were also furious. Seeing their comrade killed by this kid in the blink of an eye, and in front of so many people without any scruples, was simply a slap in their faces. Moreover, they were from the sinful army. They were considered part of the army. Killing them was equivalent to offending the army, and they would be wanted. Anyone who dared to touch them would have to think twice. But this kid was good. He was unscrupulous and did not show mercy at all. You dare to kill people despite the world's condemnation, why can't I? Xiaoping sneered. Since they dared to do it, he dared to do it again. These people thought that he wouldn't dare to kill them just because they were from the sinful army. What a joke. Attack, this kid has already become our enemy. Either he dies or we die. Let's kill him together. Zhang Xiang roared. His face was ferocious and his killing intent was boiling. That's right, he is from the giant company. If the matter of us wanting to kill him is exposed, we won't be able to get off easy. We will suffer endless revenge. If we want to live, we have to kill him. We won't stop until he is dead. Qin Boning also shouted angrily, revealing Xiaoping's identity, completely cutting off the other members of the sinful army. Since they were enemies with this kid, it was impossible to surrender. They had to determine the winner and the loser, determine life and death. Kill? The group of people from the sinful army glanced at each other. They had already boarded this pirate ship. Even if they wanted to leave, it was impossible. They had to walk this path to the end. Drunken dream death. Drunken sword burial. Drunken world of mortals. Peak drunken extreme. Samsara drunken dream. In the blink of an eye, the 5 great sword masters attacked at the same time. Each of them was a powerhouse at the 4th sky of the Grandmaster realm. They had all cultivated a king-level sword art, Drunken Dream Death. Every move of this sword art contained great power. When used, the power was endless, causing the enemy to hallucinate, as if they had fallen into the Avicii hell, suffering endless pain. Just one person alone was able to unleash such a powerful attack. Now that the 5 great sword masters joined forces at the same time, it wasn't as simple as 1 plus 1. The power was superimposed crazily, like the waves of the sea, each wave stronger than the one before. In the past, these 5 people were a group of assassins, specializing in killing nobles and politicians. With this sword art, they had killed countless enemies. Even when the police came to chase after them, they were all killed by them. Ordinary sword masters were no match for them. In order to catch them, the police also paid a great price and there were countless casualties. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Countless sword chi attacked, completely enveloping Xiaoping's body, wanting to tear him into pieces. Good timing. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. With a bang, he instantly took out a precious weapon obtained from the celestial demon battlefield, Flame Dragon Divine Sword. He held the sword and infused his gang chi into it. With a bang, with his body as the center, a terrifying flame field was immediately generated. A huge flame soared into the sky, reaching dozens of meters high. Chapter 782. Bang. As soon as the flame dragon divine sword appeared, a terrifying fiery sword aura burst out, forming a terrifying aura that immediately shattered the sword aura of the 5 grandmasters. It even created a terrifying shockwave that blasted out in all directions. The 5 grandmasters of the sword Dao were immediately sent flying back, their blood and qi churning from the impact. Another brilliant treasure? Zhang Xiang and the others were green with envy. They wanted to get a great treasure, but they couldn't. Even if they had to pay a huge price, they still couldn't. But this kid just casually took out a treasured tool. It was really too unreasonable. Die. Xia Ping brandished the flame dragon divine sword and performed the first form of the 4-season sword technique, lingering spring Sunday whoosh. Whoosh, whoosh. In the blink of an eye, the stellar energy in the air vibrated and the flame dragon divine sword released one fiery sword aura after another. The sword aura condensed to the extreme and turned into drops of rain. The raindrops floated in the air and fell from the sky, covering the entire area. It was as if missiles were being bombarded from the sky. The power of the 4-season sword technique itself, the power of Xia Ping's stellar energy, and the addition of the flame dragon divine sword made the power of the sword aura unimaginable. One attack had the power to destroy everything. Not good. The 5 grandmasters' expressions changed. They could feel the power of the fiery sword aura. If they were hit by it, they would most likely be reduced to nothing. But it was too late for them to run. Dong. Flaming sword qi rained down like meteors, bombarding the bodies of the 5 sword Dao grandmasters. Bang. One of the grandmasters was caught off guard and was immediately hit by one of the fiery sword aura. The sword aura pierced through his body and blood sprayed out like sparks. The fiery sword aura contained infinite destructive power. When it entered the grandmaster's body, the fiery power exploded like a cannonball. Arg! The grandmaster screamed miserably. His face was hideous, but he struggled to no avail. His entire body was blown to pieces. He couldn't be more dead. Run! The remaining 4 grandmasters of the sword Dao were terrified to the point their faces went ghastly pale. They simply wished for nothing more than to grow a few more legs, and they exerted all their strength in an attempt to swiftly escape the area covered by this sword qi. You won't be able to escape. Xia Ping slashed out again. The second style of the 4-season swordsmanship, Scorching Summer. With a boom, this sword strike was incomparably violent, releasing a terrifying flame sword qi. It was as if it had turned into a flame dragon that could devour the heavens and earth, destroying everything in its path. The surrounding temperature immediately rose by dozens of degrees, as if the hottest summer had arrived. The water on the ground evaporated completely, turning into scorched earth with many cracks. Stop. Sensing the threat from this sword qi, Zhang Xiang and the others' expressions greatly changed. They felt that they could not continue to stand by and watch. They immediately acted, wanting to save these grandmasters. You can't save the person I want to kill. Xia Ping remained unmoved and continued to slash out with his sword. Like the roar of a flame dragon, it chased after the 4 grandmasters of the way of the sword, sweeping through everything in its path. With a boom, the flame dragon opened its mouth savagely and swallowed the 4 sword Dao grandmasters into its stomach. Terrifying flames began to burn. A few seconds later, the 4 sword Dao grandmasters turned into charred corpses and lost all signs of life. Son of a bitch, you're courting death. Go. Kill him. Don't hold back. Anyone who kills people from the sinful army must die. All of you must die. Zhang Xiang and the others roared with killing intent. Some of them used the roaring tiger fist. The punch was like the roar of a ferocious tiger, with the might of a ferocious beast descending a mountain. It was as if this punch alone could collapse a small mountain. Some people used the soaring cloud palm, which was illusory like the clouds in the sky. However, it contained a ferocious power that could shatter rocks and split metal. Some people used the blade technique that had almost reached perfection. It was as if the entire earth had been split in 2 by the blade. They were invincible and had the bravery of 10,000 men. These grandmasters of the sinful army had honed their martial arts to the pinnacle. They were like human-shaped murder weapons. Every punch and every kick contained terrifying power. Now that there were more than 10 grandmasters attacking, it was as if there were thousands of soldiers and horses. Die my ass. Do you think you can kill me with trash like you? Do you know how much you're worth? Xia Ping shouted and circulated the pure yang everlasting incantation. The third form of the four-season swordplay, rustling autumn wind. This sword strike seemed to have the power to set a prairie ablaze. With Xia Ping as the center, the surrounding several li was filled with a somber atmosphere. Everything began to wither. It was as if at this moment, the fiery sword chi from the flame dragon divine sword didn't have any heat. Instead, it made people feel extremely cold, the kind that could freeze their hearts and bones. It wasn't the kind of cold that acted on the body but on the soul. It made people feel like their souls were being killed dozens of times, as if they had fallen into the yellow springs of the nine hells. Bang bang bang. In an instant, the sword chi exploded, bombarding the grandmasters. In the next second, a thin line of blood appeared on their necks. It was hard to see with the naked eye. Immediately, 5 or 6 grandmasters let out miserable screams. Their eyes were wide open as if they hadn't expected to be hit just like that. The sword slashed down silently, and their necks were cut by the sword chi. With a snap, their heads flew up, fell to the ground like a ball and kept rolling. Oh no, this guy is too strong. We're no match for him at all. Moreover, he has a precious weapon. We can't beat him. Seeing several grandmasters being beheaded like chickens, Zhang Xiang and the others were so scared that their faces turned green. This was especially so for Zhang Xiang and Qin Boning. They were the most touched. During the genius contest, this kid was only a junior in the martial master realm. Compared to the core students like them, he was far weaker. However, after a few months after experiencing the celestial demon battlefield, he had advanced by leaps and bounds and was promoted to the second heaven of supreme power realm. It was simply amazing progress. Now facing Xia Ping, they had no advantage at all. Even if they fought with real guns and bullets, they would be killed on the spot. The difference in combat strength was huge. At the thought of this, they felt extremely aggrieved. Since when could this person, whom they looked down upon, climb over their heads and show off his strength? All of you stay here. Xia Ping's killing intent was boiling. Since he had killed so many of their people, he absolutely couldn't let them escape. Otherwise, there would be endless troubles. Especially the crime of killing the Sinner army. Even if the giant company could protect him, he might suffer a certain degree of suffering. Chapter 783. Dong. Xia Ping channeled the majestic earth chi in his body into the flame dragon divine sword, completely activating the weapon's power. In an instant he stabbed the sword into the ground. The fourth form of the four-season swordsmanship, decay of all things. Bang bang bang. The moment the flame dragon divine sword stabbed into the ground, the entire ground burst open. A powerful sword chi exploded in the ground within a radius of several miles, and one extremely sharp sword chi after another darted out from the ground. With a clanging sound, blades emerged from the ground one after another, emitting an incomparable chill. It was as if the entire area had turned into a mountain of knives and a sea of fire, annihilating and destroying everything. This kind of sword will was extremely terrifying. It was so cold that it seemed to freeze one's heart and soul. It was as if the Grim Reaper had come out of hell with a sickle to harvest souls. Ah! One by one the grandmasters let out shrill screams. They were caught off guard and were instantly pierced by a blade that shot out from the ground. Blood gushed out and even their hearts were crushed. They were nailed to the ground like skewers. Large amounts of blood dripped down, dyeing the ground red. Impossible! Qin Boning shouted. His eyes were filled with extreme fear. He used the king-level footwork, 8 trigrams 9 palace footwork. His figure flickered as he tried to avoid the blades that shot out from the ground. But there were too many of them. There were thousands of them, densely packed and covering the entire area. He used this footwork to constantly move around and avoid the attacks of dozens of blades. But when hundreds of blades attacked at the same time, he could no longer dodge. Dong. With just one blow, his entire body was pierced by the flaming blades. His body turned into a huge beehive and blood flowed out. Qin Boning's eyes were wide open. His body fell to the ground and he died with his eyes wide open. Damn it! Even if you kill me, you won't have it easy. I'll kill you. Zhang Xiang's face was ferocious as he watched the people around him die one by one. He had no power to resist. He knew that no matter how much he struggled, he would not be able to escape. Immediately he wanted to detonate the smart steel ring on his body. There was a powerful explosive on it. If it were to be detonated, it would be enough to raise the area within a few miles to the ground. This steel ring was not only used to prevent them from escaping, but it could also be used to detonate and perish together with the enemy. Even if they died, they could drag a few of them down with them. Ha! Xia Ping was quick-witted. He felt a strong sense of danger coming from Zhang Xiang. Although he didn't know what the other party wanted to do, he definitely wouldn't allow the other party to do anything. Head-piercing 7 arrows art. He made a grabbing motion with his hand. His stellar energy vibrated and condensed into a dagger. Whoosh! In an instant, Xia Ping threw the dagger out soundlessly, hiding in the void. In the next second, the dagger arrived in front of Zhang Xiang. Before Zhang Xiang could think of anything, the dagger immediately chopped off his head. It flew out like a soccer ball, fell to the ground and rolled around. Zhang Xiang dead. Up until now, all the members of the Sin army that had launched an assault had perished, and not a single one was left alive. Huh? Is there a bomb in the steel ring? Xia Ping looked over and immediately saw the iron hoops around the necks of the sinners. He probed them with his mind power and found that these iron hoops were unusual. Whoosh! Reflexively, he made a grasping motion, and a hand of astral energy shot out, grabbing all of the steel hoops. Then, like a giant hurling a boulder, he hurled the hoops away. Boom! In an instant, these iron hoops were thrown into the air and exploded on the spot. A huge mushroom cloud rose up, and the roar was extremely shocking. The condensed energy swept in all directions, destroying many buildings. Heat waves surged and many broken walls were shattered. The scene was very shocking. If Xia Ping hadn't been vigilant, the explosion of these iron hoops would have caused terrible consequences. It was likely that these iron hoops had been programmed long ago. Once the owner died, they might explode on their own, burying the enemies who killed the sinners. Not bad. There are treasures and secret manuals. After the crisis was resolved, Xia Ping patted the dust off his body and immediately searched for treasures on the sinners. He immediately found that they carried a lot of healing elixirs and elixirs that could strengthen martial arts cultivation. These elixirs were also very useful for a grandmaster. Huh? Isn't this the martial arts secret manual that Sha Sinlin had? This secret manual seems to be called Greenwood Magic Needle. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He immediately knew that this martial art was the martial art that Sha Sinlin had used before. Moreover, its power was not simple. It condensed Greenwood Gang Qi into a needle and shot it out. It was sinister and vicious. If the enemy was hit by this Greenwood Magic Needle, they would immediately explode and die. Not bad. This martial art is very suitable for me. Xia Ping's eyes suddenly brightened. Although this martial art belonged to the wood attribute, the technique of using Gang Qi was worth learning. If he could condense the flaming Gang Qi into a magic needle and shoot it out, it would be like the legendary peerless hidden weapon, the Storm Thunderflower Needle. Such an attack power would definitely be unbelievably strong. Moreover, such a flaming magic needle could explode on the spot when shot into the enemy's body. According to the power of the flaming Gang Qi explosion, it would be much stronger than the wood Gang Qi explosion. Is that so? Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He took a look at the secret manual and immediately gained some understanding. For the current him, he had already been promoted to a guru and cultivated many king's secret manuals. He already had an extremely strong comprehension ability. He did not need the system to enlighten him at all. He could already understand by analogy and draw inferences about other things from one instance. In particular, the enhancement of soul power had also strengthened his ability to comprehend martial arts. Buzz, he grabbed with his big hand and circulated his qigong. His Gang Qi vibrated and immediately condensed into a red steel needle. With a whoosh, the steel needle shot out like lightning. In an instant, it pierced through a boulder that weighed dozens of tons in front of it effortlessly. The boulder was pierced on the spot. It was as fragile as tofu. Then, the flaming steel needle immediately expanded and turned into a huge fireball that exploded on the spot. Boom. Immediately, the boulder was blown into pieces and turned into powder. The power was amazing. Even a deep pit appeared on the ground, and the soil on the ground splashed out. Xia Ping was very satisfied with such power. Just one steel needle was so terrifying. If thousands of steel needles were shot out, the power would be unimaginable. Or perhaps it was more suitable for him than the fireball bomb. Are there no other secret manuals? Xia Ping continued to search, but found that he could no longer find other martial arts secret manuals. It seemed that only Sha Sinlin had it. Perhaps he wanted to comprehend it at all times, so he did this. He probably did not expect that he would die, and even leaked the precious martial arts secret manuals in his family. Chapter 784. At this time, the headquarters of the sinful army. When Zhang Ziang and others died, the life sensors in their bodies immediately transmitted the news of their death, and the cadres of the sinful army headquarters immediately knew the news. What? A high-ranking general was shocked. What the hell is going on? Zhang Ziang and others are dead? Didn't they go to perform a very simple task? It's just killing some pirates and the enemy is in the light, how could they die? And it's a total annihilation. After he got the news he was very shocked. Because even in the sinful army, the Grandmaster is a very powerful force, and the death of one can be regarded as a heavy loss. Now Zhang Ziang and others are all dead, which shocked many generals. Although the strength of the Blood Shark pirates is good, Zhang Ziang's strength is not simple. Even if they are really discovered by the Blood Shark pirates, it is absolutely impossible for them to be completely destroyed. There will always be a few of them coming out alive. What happened in the end? A bald admiral was also very confused. If a dignified Grandmaster wanted to escape, very few people could kill them. But now they are all dead and no one survived, which makes many people feel puzzled. I don't know. An intelligence officer shook his head. It is said that they went to the Blood Shark pirates' lair this time, which seems to be a foggy island with a natural maze. Even the place where the Blood Shark pirates' headquarters is located contains many mysteries. Maybe Zhang Ziang and others fell into a trap and were all killed, or maybe they were unlucky and violated some kind of taboo in that place. He said his thoughts. Many generals nodded. The endless sea is mysterious and unpredictable, and there are many unsolved mysteries, especially in some seas. There will always be many unknown dangers. Even the king may not be able to escape from this kind of danger. If Zhang Ziang and others, for some reason, touched some kind of taboo force in the sea, and as a result they were all killed, which is not surprising. A high-ranking general immediately said, immediately check the cause of Zhang Ziang's death, and see if they died in the trap of the Blood Shark pirates? Or were they unlucky and accidentally touched a taboo place and died? No matter how they died, we must find out the reason. His tone was harsh. Yes, General. Many intelligence officers immediately saluted with a solemn expression. The news of Zhang Ziang and the others' deaths quickly spread, and many corps students who joined the sinful army knew about it. Huagang, Chao Jingbin, and the others' expressions changed drastically. Another dead one. Many corps students were so frightened that they collapsed to the ground. Their bodies were drenched in cold sweat and their legs were weak. Ever since they joined the sinful army a few months ago, although the death rate wasn't high, there were still some corps students who died in accidents. And now even Zhang Ziang, Qin Boning, and Sha Senlin, the 3 corps students, had died. 3 of them had died in an instant. This matter had greatly frightened them and their faces were deathly pale. No, this won't do. We have to escape. If we continue to stay in this damn place, we will definitely die. This kind of mission isn't something a human can complete. A corps student collapsed. He wanted to escape. How? Huagang sneered. Don't forget what exactly is on your neck. If you dare to take even half a step out of the sinful army's base, it will immediately detonate and you'll be executed on the spot. If you want to die, then run. Hearing these words, many of the corps students felt despair. They touched the metal rings around their necks. This was simply a slave ring, controlling them and preventing them from escaping. But what should we do now? We will die if we stay here, but we will also die if we escape. Could it be that we can only wait for death? It's all that damnable Xia Ping's fault. If it wasn't for that son of a bitch, how could we be in such a miserable state? To think that we are all descendants of kings, yet we were actually harmed by that country bumpkin to such a miserable state. We can't even control our life and death. This is a great humiliation. If I don't take revenge for this, I swear I'm not a human. That brat seems to be doing very well now. He advanced to the elite adept realm and became a core member of the giant company. He's already starting to rise rapidly. I reckon he doesn't even place us losers in his eyes anymore. I can't accept this. Why is this brat able to eat and drink all day while we are in such a miserable state? Each of the core students gritted their teeth, filled with hatred towards Xia Ping. If Xia Ping appeared before them, they would definitely rush over and skin this bastard alive. Huagang and Chao Jingbin couldn't help but clench their fists as green veins popped out on their foreheads. Interesting. Do you guys want revenge? All of a sudden, a black shadow appeared in this space. A sinister laughter rang out, reverberating through the air. Who is it? Huagang and the others were shocked. They instantly retreated and looked at the black shadow in the distance with vigilance. It didn't seem to have a physical body. It was just a lump of black smoke. I'm not a human but a demon, the shadow said. Huagang's eyes flashed as he thought of something. So that's how it is. This kind of state of nothingness, if I didn't guess wrongly, you should be one of the strongest assassins in the demon race, the Shadow Demon. That's right, I am indeed the Shadow Demon. The Shadow Demon admitted. Huagang stared at the Shadow Demon. This is the headquarters of the Sinful Army. Experts are as common as the clouds, and there's even a surveillance system. How did you get in here? He couldn't understand. I naturally have my own methods. As for what they are, you don't need to ask. I just want to ask you one thing. Do you want Xiaoping to die? The Shadow Demon calmly said. What do you mean? Huagang and the others stared at the Shadow Demon. I believe you guys also know that Xiaoping has done evil and brought disaster to the four directions, causing many demon kings to be enraged. The Shadow Demon calmly said, many demon kings in the myriad demon mountain want this human to die. They want him to die immediately. That's why we need your help to find the whereabouts of that human Xiaoping. I believe this shouldn't be a difficult thing for you guys. After all, this is the Sinful Army, one of the largest intelligence organizations in the human government. It calmly looked at Huagang and the others. You guys are demons and we are humans. We are like fire and water, absolutely irreconcilable. If we help you, what's in it for us? Huagang sneered. The Shadow Demon cackled. You guys are right. You won't get any benefits from helping us. The only benefit is that you guys can watch that human Xiaoping die. Just this little benefit? Are you guys willing or not? It revealed an indifferent expression. Yes. Huagang and the others clenched their fists and gritted their teeth. There was no benefit more tempting than this. If that hateful Xiaoping died, then it didn't matter if there was no benefit. Or it could be said that watching that domineering brat die was the biggest benefit. Even if they had to join hands with the demons, they wouldn't hesitate. Chapter 785. At this time on the Blood Shark Island, many corpses of pirates as well as the corpses of the Sinful Army were completely burned by Xiaoping's flames and turned into ashes, leaving nothing behind. Even if someone came to Blood Shark Island, they wouldn't know who did this. They wouldn't even know if they were dead. Perhaps they were missing. It's worthy of being the treasure house of the Blood Shark pirates. There are so many treasures inside. Coming to the treasure house of the Blood Shark pirates, Xiaoping was very violent. He punched the door of the treasure house and directly stepped into the treasure house. He looked at the mountains of gold and silver jewelry as well as various elixirs and precious ores in front of him. He couldn't help but sigh. A rough estimate shows that there are at least 1 trillion federal coins worth of treasures here. He doesn't know how many years the Blood Shark pirates have been robbing to accumulate these treasures. But now it all belongs to him. Plunder, plunder everything. Xiaoping was extremely excited. He immediately took action and put all the treasures into his space ring. He didn't even let go of a single screw. It was like plucking feathers from a goose. In just half an hour, the treasure house was completely emptied. However, he didn't find any treasures here. It is estimated that the blood-killing flag on Shark 17 is the biggest treasure on him. If he wants to take out a second one, it will be extremely difficult. Ha! Suddenly, Xiaoping's eyes flashed. He heard a prompt from the system. Someone has a murderous intent towards him and is trying to carry out a plan against him. So it's like this. Is it Huagang and the other core students? I didn't expect this group of people to be so persistent after entering the Sin Army. They even plan to collude with the monster race. They really don't learn from their mistakes. Xiaoping clenched his fists. He knew that the monster race and Huagang colluded with each other and planned to kill him. It seems that I have to enhance my strength as soon as possible. Although Xiaoping is very confident in his ability to hide his whereabouts, standing by the river will always get his shoes wet. There will always be times when his whereabouts will be exposed. This is also an inevitable thing. After all, with Huagang and the other core students controlling the intelligence of the Sin Army, it is estimated that it won't be long before they find out his whereabouts. He wanted to take advantage of this period of time to increase his strength as quickly as possible. When the time came, even if the demon clan assassins came, he would make the group of demons drink hatred and pay a heavy price. Let's go back. After plundering all the treasures on Blood Shark Island, Xiaoping had no reason to stay here any longer. He immediately left Blood Shark Island, intending to return to the City of Giants. However, he didn't use the moon god ship to quickly return. Instead, he walked on the waves of the sea. He wanted to borrow the power of nature to continuously sharpen his martial arts cultivation. This was also a form of cultivation. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Xia Ping circulated the astral energy in his body and stepped on the blue waves. The soles of his feet were covered with a thick layer of astral energy. It was as if his feet were stepping on a cement floor and he was walking on the sea as if he was walking on flat ground. Because he needed to circulate his stellar energy at all times to maintain a certain balance in his body, he had to reach a fine level of control over his stellar energy. Otherwise he would easily fall into the sea. Moreover, on the sea the waves were surging. From time to time huge waves would come crashing down, enough to capsize a giant ship. Xia Ping also had to think of ways to resist them. The huge waves came crashing down with unknown force. Such power was no less than a strike from a grandmaster. Ordinary people would be instantly smashed into meat paste by this power. Only a grandmaster would dare to cultivate in such a dangerous sea like the Endless Sea. Awesome. Xia Ping circulated his qigong to the extreme. The astral energy flowed around his meridians. It was like a sports car speeding on the highway. It was extremely enjoyable. In the Endless Sea he could display his strength to his heart's content. Humans, there are humans running on the sea. I heard that human flesh is very delicious, especially some warriors. Their bodies contain the energy of spiritual herbs. If you eat them, it's no less than consuming a spiritual herb. Kill him and we'll have a banquet tonight. Xia Ping's unscrupulous running was also noticed by some fishmen on the sea. Some were frightened and did not dare to approach, but there were also skilled and bold fishmen who wanted to kill Xia Ping. Humans, stop right there. We have something we want to discuss with you. One of the fishmen shouted. Its small eyes were rolling around, harboring malicious intentions. It wanted Xia Ping to stop so that it could surround and kill him and devour his flesh. Scram. Xia Ping did not even look. His whole body was wrapped in stellar energy. He was like a cannonball. He did not care about the surrounding fishmen who wanted to harm him and directly rushed out. Those fishmen were caught off guard. They did not expect Xia Ping to be so savage. They tried to stop him, but how could they? Xia Ping's speed was extremely fast, breaking through the sound barrier. Trying to stop such a person was no less than an ordinary person trying to stop a high-speed train at full speed. Bang! Immediately, a fishman who tried to stop Xia Ping was smashed into a ball of meat sauce on the spot, turned into meat paste and died without a whole body. Some fishmen next to him tried to come up, but they were also sent flying by the huge waves around them. Those huge waves seemed to turn into a giant hand, slapping down fiercely, and immediately shattered them into pieces. Xia Ping ran along the way. It was a mess, leaving behind hundreds of fishmen corpses, bright red. If this was in the human world, it would be the scene of a car accident with countless casualties. However, on the sea this is a very common thing. Every time they hunt, they don't know how many fish die. Some fishmen saw that this human was fierce, no less than a deep-sea monster, and all of them trembled in fear, no longer daring to stop him. For 5 days in a row Xia Ping ran on the Endless Sea walking on the waves, and his speed was extremely fast, setting off amazing huge waves. From a distance he looked like a flying fish swimming. Comfortable. Xia Ping felt that his body was very comfortable. This was a kind of extreme cultivation. There were huge waves above the sea all the time, slapping on his body. Running the North Sea protective skill was to help him cultivate. The Gang Qi in his body also grew rapidly, as if he had fought with countless supreme power masters, and he had benefited a lot. Even after this kind of hard cultivation, he had mastered the Gang Qi in his body to a subtle level, and even sharpened his spiritual force to become more powerful, as if he had gone through thousands of tempering. Although there were times when his Gang Qi was overconsumed, he took the spiritual liquid and elixirs, which could quickly make up for the Gang Qi in his body, so that he could maintain his peak state. Bang bang bang. Xia Ping felt that his body was full of Gang Qi. After 3 days of cultivation he broke through 5 or 6 acupoints in succession, which greatly increased the Gang Qi in his body. It seemed that he was about to reach the peak of the second sky of supreme power. Chapter 786. Sure enough, fighting with nature is also a kind of cultivation. At this time, Xia Ping casually stepped on the waves. After several days of cultivation, his control of earth energy was like a fish in water, and he didn't know how many times stronger it was before. Every corner of his body was covered with earth energy, and he could even extend it out, merging with the sea. It seemed that at this moment he had also merged with the sea, completely controlling the rhythm of the waves. Every time he moved, the waves would shake and he could use the power of the waves to move forward quickly. Compared to before, Xiaoping seemed to walk on the sea more easily, as if he could control the power of the sea and save a lot of his strength. This was a brilliant manipulation of earth energy. And my body has also become stronger. Xiaoping clenched his fists, looking at his bulging muscles. These past few days, he had been constantly fluctuating with the waves, as if countless masters were attacking him from all directions. The majestic power of the sea crushed over and slapped on his body, constantly tempering him like a piece of steel that had been tempered thousands of times, expelling the impurities in his body. It could be said that such a harsh environment had made his body even stronger. Every inch of his muscles contained explosive power. When he punched out, it was enough to create an explosion of air and smash a small mountain several kilometers away. Ha! Suddenly, Xiaoping's spiritual force sensed a burst of fighting sounds coming from the distant sea. A huge human ship was surrounded by several pirate ships. A large number of cruel and evil pirates were fighting with the martial artists on the ship. The sound of fighting shook the sky, and a large amount of blood flowed on the sea, as well as the corpses of humans and murlocs. It was completely obvious that this time the fighting was fierce. And the humans seemed to be at a disadvantage because there were too many murlocs and pirates, several times more than the humans. They were fierce and unafraid of death, and it was estimated that after a period of time, the humans would be slaughtered by the murlocs and pirates. No, isn't that Jianghu? Suddenly, Xiaoping's spiritual force perception spread out for a radius of 10 kilometers, and he immediately sensed a peerless beauty who, even though she was wearing loose training clothes, still couldn't hide her impressive figure. On the ship, her graceful figure flashed everywhere. Because she was too fast, she left behind afterimages. She struck out with her palm, fierce and unmatched, like a Vajra Arhat, with the power to subdue demons and subdue demons. Dong dong dong. One after another, the fishmen were killed by the power of her palm. Their heads were smashed into meat paste and they died miserably. They were unable to withstand such a fierce palm strike. However, such a tragic scene didn't look bloody at all. Instead, it became a little pleasing to the eye with her beautiful face. It was like a blood-colored, elegant, and noble waltz. She also looked like a noble and beautiful princess. She wore a battle robe and repelled powerful enemies, giving off a valiant and formidable-looking air. Under her full strength, the human side actually gained the upper hand for a while, beating the fish people pirates to retreat, causing many ordinary martial artists to cheer. He seems to have advanced to the fifth heaven of martial master realm. Xiaoping's eyes were extremely sharp. He could immediately tell that Jianghu's cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds compared to before. If he had stayed at Yanhuang University, he wouldn't have made such progress. However, she had come out with her master from the Cold Moon Palace to gain experience. She had never thought that she would have such a fortuitous encounter. Her rate of improvement was not inferior to the exceptional geniuses of the sovereign clans. Oh no! Xiaoping soon discovered that the fish people pirates were angry. They finally saw the threat of Jianghu, a human. In an instant, a 5-meter-tall giant fish people pirate jumped out. It was a grandmaster, at least at the second heaven of martial master realm. It appeared in front of many human beings holding a black giant axe. It was like a giant facing ordinary human beings. There was an overwhelming gap in combat strength. When the ordinary martial artists saw this fish people appear, they all felt despair. This was not only the gap in physique and strength, but also the gap in martial arts cultivation. Human, go to hell? The fish people grandmaster shouted angrily. Holding the giant axe in his hand, he chopped towards Jianghu's head in the air like a giant splitting Mount Hua. The power of this axe was terrifying to the extreme. Because it was too fast, it tore through the air. Qi condensed into a substance, impressively turning into wind blades, flying in all directions. Some of the human martial artists nearby were caught off guard and were hit by these wind blades. They were instantly torn apart from the middle, splitting into two halves. Their deaths were extremely miserable. Fish people, don't be so arrogant. At this time, the human grandmaster also attacked. He punched out and his gang Qi shook. But it was useless. Dong. This attack of the axe sent the human grandmaster flying on the spot. Like a cannonball, he smashed hard on the floor of the ship, creating a deep pit and breaking into pieces. Ah! The human grandmaster was so shocked that he coughed up blood. More than a dozen bones in his body were broken, and his lungs were seriously injured. Although he was also a master at the second heaven of martial master realm, compared with the fish people, the gap was too big. In terms of strength alone, the fish people was 10 times stronger than him. Often, It took 2 or 3 human grandmasters of the same level to kill a fish people of the same level. It's over. Even the grandmasters are no match for it. That fish people grandmaster is too terrible. He's simply a monster. Run now. If you don't run, you'll die. Many human martial artists finally panicked. The appearance of the fish people grandmaster was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. Their minds were broken. They no longer had the courage to fight, and all they wanted was to run away. Damn it. Jianghu clenched her fists, and her beautiful eyes showed a trace of resoluteness. Although she had the secret treasure her master had given her, and even if she encountered a grandmaster, she could still escape. But with so many ordinary humans standing behind her, how could she escape? But she was not a pedantic person. If there was really no other way, running away was also the best plan. At least she could come back alive and take revenge for the humans who had died. But now, she still wanted to kill as many fish people as possible to create an opportunity for others to escape. Human, go to hell. A trace of cruelty appeared in the eyes of the fish people grandmaster. To it, there was no difference between beauty and ugliness in humans. They were just food. It clenched its giant axe and swung it down again. It wanted to kill this human woman who had killed so many of its companions. Shoo. Just at this moment, a flame suddenly crossed in the distance, like a meteor, passing by in a flash. Some people had very sharp eyes. They saw that it was a small needle flying in the air. It was the divine flame needle. Dong. In the next second, the divine flame needle instantly pierced through the fish people grandmaster's body. It was as fragile as tofu and penetrated into the deepest part of its body. No. The fish people grandmaster let out a mournful scream. Because at this moment, the divine flame needle was rapidly expanding. Countless particles collided with each other, causing an astonishing explosion. Chapter 787. Dead? That Grandmaster Fishman is dead. No way. Just who did it? Could it be that there's a hidden Grandmaster level expert amongst us, and he couldn't bear to watch any longer, so he finally made his move? That's great. With a Grandmaster here, we won't have to die this time. We won't have to die. Quite a few people saw the Grandmaster Fishman's death, and all of them began to cheer, wild with joy. This Grandmaster Fishman's strength was incomparably terrifying. Just him alone had killed who knew how many of their experts. If it weren't for this Grandmaster Fishman, they wouldn't have suffered so many casualties. But now that the Grandmaster Fishman had been killed, the pressure on their bodies was greatly reduced. What? Jianghu, who had originally wanted to use her trump card, was completely dumbfounded. Just like that, she watched as the Grandmaster Fishman's body exploded, blood splattering everywhere as he died in front of her. She couldn't even imagine it. After all, this was a dignified Grandmaster. No matter where he was an extremely tyrannical existence. Apart from kings, he was the strongest existence. If he was in the army, he would be an existence on the level of a general, commanding tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of subordinates. And on the entire ship, there wasn't a single Grandmaster that was a match for this Grandmaster Fishman. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been no one who came out to stop this Fishman from wreaking havoc and killing the innocent. But now this Grandmaster Fishman had been killed. Just who had killed him? Jianghu looked around, trying to find the expert who had killed the Grandmaster Fishman. Chem? This. Jianghu's pupils shrank. She immediately saw that in the distance, a figure had suddenly appeared, walking on the surface of the sea as if walking on flat ground. His speed seemed very slow, but in the blink of an eye he had advanced several hundred meters. In just a few breaths of time, this mysterious figure had actually arrived in front of everyone. Xiaoping. When she saw this mysterious figure clearly, Jianghu couldn't help but cry out in surprise. This person who had suddenly appeared was actually Xiaoping, who she hadn't seen for a long time. She never imagined that she would actually meet this scoundrel on the endless sea. This was far beyond her expectations. Why are you shouting so loudly? You don't usually shout so loudly when you're moaning in bed. With a whoosh, Xiaoping instantly appeared in front of Jianghu, lazily looking at her. What? When the surrounding people heard these words, they were all dumbfounded. This goddess-like woman was loved by countless men. After boarding the ship, she had been pursued by many men. Moreover, she looked as pure as ice and as clean as jade, awe-inspiring and inviolable. She was like a saintess, an existence that could not be profaned and could not be touched. But now she actually had a man, and they even had that kind of indescribable relationship. Suddenly, many men heard the sound of their hearts breaking, like glass breaking. It seemed that they had fallen out of love before they even started dating. Was there anything more tragic than this in the world? Who called for bed? Don't talk nonsense here. In an instant, Jianghu's face turned red. She wanted nothing more than to eat this scoundrel like a meat bun. Under the watchful eyes of so many people, this hooligan actually dared to say such words to a pure and untainted maiden. He was simply shameless to the extreme. Originally, when they reunited after such a long time, and at such a critical moment, she was more or less touched and had a lot to say. But now all her feelings were gone. She wanted to punch that shameless face. Shut up. At this time, another Murloc guru suddenly rushed out from the distance. Was furious. Damn human, you are still flirting here. You killed my brother. Give me your life immediately. Whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, 5 or 6 Murloc gurus jumped out from the pirate ship. The strongest one was at the Supreme Power Realm 4th sky, and the weakest one was at the Supreme Power Realm 2nd sky. This was simply turning out in full force. Originally, they thought that such a small force would be enough to kill all the humans on the ship and plunder all the treasures on it. This was a simple task. But who would have thought that someone would suddenly appear and kill one of their senior cadres at once? It immediately made their lungs explode with anger and aroused monstrous hatred. They were all brothers and had a very good relationship. The death of one of them was an unbearable loss. One could imagine their hatred for Xiaoping now. They simply wanted to kill him immediately and peel his skin and pull out his tendons. It's over. Why are there still so many Murloc gurus? Why are we so unlucky? If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have come on this ship. We're dead for sure. Who can save us? Save my ass. Just wait for death. With so many Murloc gurus appearing, it's enough to kill us dozens of times. Seeing the appearance of these Murloc gurus, many humans fell into a state of despair. They didn't expect to be able to escape. Even leaving their bodies intact was also an extravagant hope. Jianghu was also momentarily stunned by the appearance of this group of Grandmaster Fishmen. His expression was grave to the extreme. To the humans who were already in a disadvantageous position, the appearance of these Grandmaster Fishmen had basically destroyed all hope of survival. Go to hell, human. Die with regret. Regret why you were so stupid to get involved in this mess. 5 or 6 Murloc gurus shouted and attacked Xiaoping at the same time. Some of them held giant axes. They jumped over like cannonballs and chopped down in the air. Some of them held black hammers. Their whole bodies were like Mount Tai. When the hammers fell, it seemed that the air was slapped into a vacuum. Some of them held 3-meter-long broadswords. They were incomparably sharp. When they slashed down, they seemed to have the might of a saber guru. The saber chi was oppressive as if it could split a ship in half. The combined might of 6 Murloc gurus was too shocking. It was as if the surrounding 1 kilometer had become a vacuum. Their majestic aura crushed down, as if a mountain was pressing down on their shoulders. When ordinary martial artists faced this kind of pressure, they couldn't even stand up. Their legs were trembling. Noisy. Did I allow you to speak? Impudent. Xiaoping glanced sideways. He grabbed at the air, condensed his astral energy and unleashed divine flaming needles. This was an extremely high-level king-tier martial technique. Its grade was no lower than that of a peerless king-tier martial technique. His astral energy was madly compressed, and numerous divine flaming needles were condensed in the air. After several days of cultivation, he had long since cultivated this martial technique to perfection. Xiu xiu xiu. In an instant, dozens of divine flaming needles appeared in the air. They were energy condensed from flames at the level of sun essence. They shot towards the Murloc gurus. Dong. These divine flaming needles specialized in breaking through protective astral energy. Those Murloc gurus didn't expect these divine flaming needles to be so terrifying. They were instantly pierced through by the needles, and even their astral energy barriers were rendered useless. With just a single strike, these divine flaming needles sank into the bodies of the Murloc gurus. No. Chapter 788. So strong. When the crowd saw the 5 or 6 Fishman Grandmasters killed by Xiaoping in an instant, they were all dumbfounded. These were Fishman Grandmasters, not salted fish that could be found anywhere. But now they were like vegetables, slaughtered by this young man as if they were nothing more than vegetables. His strength was simply terrifying. Although Xiaoping was famous in the Cloud Continent, he was still a nobody in the Endless Sea. Not many people had heard of him, so it was normal that they didn't know him. After all, in a place like the Endless Sea there were too many strong people. Grandmasters could be seen everywhere. He's getting more and more abnormal. Jianghu was speechless. She had originally thought that by cultivating with her master, she would quickly surpass this rogue. At that time she would be able to casually beat him up and get revenge. But who would have thought that this guy's speed of improvement was simply unreasonable? He had already become a grandmaster and was competing with the older generation. There was basically no one among the younger generation who could compete with him. This gap in strength made her feel a little depressed. Opportunity, this is a great opportunity. With the Fishman Grandmasters dead, they no longer have high-end combat power. Destroy them, immediately destroy them and take revenge. Some of the smarter martial artists were not stunned. They immediately reacted, knowing that this was a great opportunity. The Fishman Grandmasters had been destroyed, and the human Grandmasters were still alive. The gap in combat power was immediately reversed. This group of Fishman pirates seemed to be large in number, but apart from the Grandmasters, most of them were cannon fodder. In the face of the human Grandmasters, they simply couldn't withstand a single blow. Hearing these words, each and every one of the human martial artists became excited. Some even revealed hatred in their eyes. These Fishman pirates had just killed many of their relatives and friends. Originally they had thought that there would be no chance for revenge. But now that the Fishman Grandmasters were finished, how could they not hit them when they were down? Bang bang bang. Several human Grandmasters took the lead, and many martial masters followed closely behind. They attacked with irresistible force, killing the Fishman pirates like they were chickens. After half an hour, these Fishman pirates, except for a few clever ones who immediately jumped into the sea to escape, were all killed. A large number of corpses floated on the sea, and a large amount of blood dyed the sea red. On the other hand, many of the human ancient martial art practitioners had died. Even those who had survived were all injured. However, the eyes of those who had survived were filled with the excitement of surviving a disaster. Mr. Xia, thank you so much. That's right. If it weren't for you, we would have been finished. Thank you so much. Everyone expressed their gratitude to Xia Ping. Thank my ass. Suddenly, a white-robed young man looked at Xia Ping with hatred. It's all your fault, all your fault. Since you're so strong, why didn't you make a move earlier? If we had acted earlier, we wouldn't have lost so many people, and Uncle Hao and Uncle Jia wouldn't have been killed by those hateful Fishman pirates. Why didn't you appear earlier? He gritted his teeth. He vented his anger on Xia Ping. Wang Rulong, what are you talking about? Shut up now. A person shouted loudly, telling this white-clothed young man to shut up. He felt like it wasn't the right time to say these kinds of words. Isn't that the case? The white-clothed young man Wang Rulong sneered. Furthermore, I highly suspect that this person has an ulterior motive. Why did he have to come at this time of all times? Furthermore, the surrounding sea is vast and there's no one around. How did he appear? I don't believe that this guy is so coincidental that he just happened to pass by this place. How could there be such a coincidence in this world? I suspect that this whole thing was directed by him. Even this group of Fishman pirates was called over by him. His words were extremely malicious, and they were words that stabbed at Xia Ping's heart. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows but didn't say anything. Wang Rulong, your words are too much. What proof do you have? Furthermore, what benefits does he get from doing this? Don't think that you'll be fine just because you speak nonsense. This is slander, malicious slander. Jianghu frowned. She felt that this guy had gone too far. Xia Ping had clearly saved them, but now he was biting the hand that fed him and even poured dirty water on Xia Ping. However, she also knew that although this Wang Rulong's strength was nothing special, only at the third sky of martial master, his identity was not simple. He was a descendant of the Endless Sea's royal family, the Wang family. His status was noble and he was born with a golden spoon in his mouth. Even the few grandmasters on the ship were only his bodyguards. What benefits? Do you even need to ask? Wang Rulong said coldly. This time we came out because we received news of the birth of the geocentric Ganoderma. That's why we went to that island to search for treasures. Perhaps this guy also received the news and wanted to establish a relationship with us. So, this guy directed and acted himself. He called the pirates over and made us run for our lives. Then he appeared in the name of a savior. Wouldn't we be grateful to him, deeply grateful, and immediately spread the news of the geocentric Ganoderma? I've seen this kind of dirty and despicable method many times. How could it possibly fool me? He revealed an intelligent look as if he had seen through all of Xiaoping's tricks. Everyone was stunned. They also felt that there was nothing wrong with this logic, but it also seemed a bit far-fetched. In the end, this was only a guess and there was no proof. But no matter what, these words made their gratitude towards Xiaoping lessen quite a bit. Some people even began to suspect whether Xiaoping really had an ulterior motive. Otherwise, why would he suddenly appear in this place in the middle of the vast sea, and even save them at the most crucial moment? Jianghu was extremely anxious. If this continued, Xiaoping's reputation would be completely ruined. Perhaps he really would be regarded by this group of people as the main culprit for attracting the pirates. Looking at the gazes of the people around him, Wang Rulong was extremely pleased. This was his method of turning the clouds with one turn of his hand and calling the rain with another. This guy who came out of nowhere actually wanted to steal his woman. He was simply courting death. His heart was filled with resentment, especially when he saw this brat and Jianghu acting so intimately. He was so jealous that his intestines were sour. In order to pursue Jianghu, he had spent God knows how much effort. But the moment this brat came, Jianghu became like this. How could he stand it? Even if I can't kill you this time, I'll make sure to thoroughly ruin your reputation. Wang Rulong sinisterly thought. Being born in a large family, he had used tricks and plots many times. It was practically at his fingertips. Bang! Without waiting for Wang Rulong to have a second thought, Xiaoping suddenly made his move. In an instant he slapped Wang Rulong's face, sending him flying. Chapter 789. Wang Rulong did not expect Xiaoping to suddenly hit him. He immediately covered his face and fell to the ground, screaming in pain. It was as if every nerve in his body was in pain. This was a pain he had never experienced in his life. After all, he was a descendant of the Wang family, the descendant of a king. When he went out, he was surrounded by people. People who met him were too busy currying favor with him. Who would dare to hit him? You. Wang Rulong's eyes widened. He was shocked and angry, looking at Xiaoping with resentment. The others were also stunned. They did not expect Xiaoping to suddenly hit him and in such a vicious way. You what? Useless thing that needs a lesson. With a slap, Xiaoping slapped him again and hit the other side of his face just to make it neat. You're very good at talking. When the fishermen pirates came, why didn't you act arrogant, but hide behind them and shiver? Now that the Murloc pirates are all dead, you jump out and talk nonsense. You really know how to act according to the wind. You dare to question me? Who do you think you are? Believe it or not, I will kill you immediately and throw you into the sea to feed the sharks. Not many people will be able to save you. With a few slaps, he continued to slap Wang Rulong a few more times. Wang Rulong's face was swollen like a pig's head, dripping with blood. It was a tragic sight. Wang Rulong's mouth was leaking air. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. But now his mouth was swollen and painful. He could not say anything at all. Friend, stop immediately. He is a member of the Wang family. If you offend me. Seeing this situation, a grandmaster from the Wang family immediately jumped out, trying to stop Xiaoping. Boom. Before he could finish speaking, Xiaoping kicked him. His speed broke through the sound barrier and he used his gang qi. In an instant he kicked the grandmaster in the chest. Immediately this kick was like a ton of explosives exploding. The tyrannical gang qi instantly invaded the grandmaster's body, completely blocking his meridians. His whole body was caught off guard. Like a sandbag, he was kicked away for a kilometer. He flew directly from the ship and smashed into the sea. Boom. With a thud, the Wang clan's grandmaster fell into the sea. His lungs were severely injured and he couldn't help but spurt out blood. Even his bones had been shattered. The other party was overwhelmed with shock. If Xiaoping had used just a little more strength, his heart would have exploded and he would have died on the spot. Who do you think you are? You dare to stick your neck out? Tell me to stop. Xiaoping calmly looked at the grandmaster who had been sent flying by his kick. Do you think that the Wang family is that great? That name can scare people? I've killed many descendants of demon kings when I roamed the pugilistic world. I've also seen many members of sovereign clans. Which one would I not dare to offend? Do you think you don't have to pay the price for provoking me? Do you think the world revolves around you? Well, since you think I am the culprit who brought the fishermen pirates here, then in order to cover up this news, I have to ask you all to die. Anyway, there are no witnesses here. I'll just kill you all and make it look like I perished together with the fishermen pirates. I believe no one will be able to see through it." His body exuded a murderous aura that almost condensed into a substance. It was as if a scene of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood appeared behind him. Wisps of murderous aura were like blades, cutting the throats of these people. Everyone present was trembling with fear and kept quiet out of fear. Only now did they remember that this was a grandmaster, a monster who had killed 5 or 6 fishermen grandmasters with his bare hands. On the surface he looked like a human, but he was a tyrannical existence who could block missiles with his bare hands. He could fight against thousands of soldiers alone. In essence, ordinary warriors could not be compared to him. "Young man, don't try to bluff here." Another grandmaster of the Wang family, who looked like an old man in his 50s or 60s, wore a tang suit. He sneered as if he had seen through Xia Ping's bluff. "This old man has walked more roads than you have eaten, and you still want to bluff this old man? What a joke. Looking at your young appearance, I know that you have not seen much of the world. Our Wang family is a king family and you did it in public. How dare you kill people? It's ridiculous that you think you can scare us by saying these words. I advise you to apologize to the young master immediately and strive for leniency. In this way your crime may be less serious. Otherwise you will completely annoy our Wang family. Think about the consequences carefully. I believe you are not an idiot, Dong." Xia Ping took out the spear of hell from his body in an instant. Like a rock, his figure flashed and he stabbed the old man with the spear. The spear pierced through the old man's body on the spot and his heart exploded on the spot. Ah! The old man's eyes widened as if he could not believe that Xia Ping would really attack him. Xia Ping's attack was so fast that even he, a master at the 4th heaven of Supreme Power Realm, could not resist it. He could only watch helplessly as Xia Ping pierced his heart with his spear and ended his life. You. The old man in the tang suit widened his eyes and stared at Xia Ping, but he could not say anything. His whole body fell to the ground, dripping with blood. The people around were all trembling. This was a human guru. How could he be stabbed to death by a spear? Wang Rulong, who was extremely arrogant just now, was also scared to the point that his face turned pale. His pants were a little wet as he collapsed to the ground. He never thought that this guy would dare to attack and kill a guru of the Wang family. "I don't dare to kill people. Now let's see if I dare to kill you or not. I never joke. This is the way to go. If I say I will kill your whole family, I will kill your whole family." Xia Ping looked down with a long spear in his hand. Blood was dripping from the tip of the spear. He was ferocious, like a peerless ferocious god of the generation. Behind him was a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. These words made the hearts of the people present tremble, as if they were being squeezed by a hand. A guru? This was a guru. He was the strongest person except for the king. Even in the federal government he had all kinds of privileges. Everyone was trembling. How could such a person be easily humiliated? At this time, no one dared to doubt that Xia Ping did not dare to kill people. Even the guru of the Wang family was stabbed to death by a spear and exploded on the spot. No one dared to kill or move at the scene. People were like this. They were afraid of power but not virtue, and they did not remember pain when they were beaten. If he did not make a move and kill a few people, others would think that he was easy to bully. At this time they remembered that this was a guru. A guru could not be humiliated, and those who humiliated him must die. Wang Rulong, who was extremely arrogant before, collapsed to the ground. His face was pale and he wanted to bury his head in the ground so that the people around him could not see him anymore. Chapter 790. I'm sorry, Mr. Xia. With a plop, a grandmaster from the Wang family knelt on the ground in fear, kowtowing profusely. This is our fault. We did not teach him well, allowing this bastard to insult Mr. Xia's reputation. Please spare our lives, please spare us. He hated the idiot Wang Rulong to death. He was a grandmaster with special privileges in the federal government. He could kill a few ordinary people with his own hands and nothing would happen to him. If someone dared to offend a grandmaster, the grandmaster would kill the other party personally. This was the dignity of a grandmaster. However, this Wang Rulong actually wanted to smear the grandmaster's name without any evidence. If this was not courting death, what was? A grandmaster had just paid the price with his blood. If they did not immediately appease the other party, it would not be surprising if they all died. This was the sea anyway and there was no one around. Even if they were all killed and the pirates were framed, no one would be able to find out anything because this was the boundless sea. Even kings had fallen many times in the sea. So what if some people died? Every time the king family went out on an adventure, many people would die. This was a very normal thing. The others were also filled with regret. At this moment, they realized that this young man was not a martial artist or a martial artist, but a grandmaster who stood at the peak of the human world. How could they doubt such an identity? He had saved them. Even if it was unintentional, it was still a great favor. They actually dared to doubt him without any evidence. If this was not heartless, what else could it be? Hang him up. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back. He looked at Wang Rulong and said calmly, "Expose him to the sun for a day as a warning to others. Whoever dares to move will die." His words were simple, but they contained a terrifying murderous aura that made people tremble. "Yes, Mr. Xia." Hearing these words, the group of people immediately acted. Like soldiers, their hands and feet were very agile. They took out hemp ropes and immediately tied Wang Rulong up, hanging him on the flagpole. "No. How dare you do this? Do you know who I am? Do you know what kind of person I, Wang Rulong, am? Let me go immediately, you lowly commoners." Wang Rulong continued to struggle. His expression was ferocious and he was extremely angry. To be hung up in public and exposed to the sun for an entire day was a great humiliation for a descendant of the Wang clan. However, in front of so many people, and with Xia Ping at the side, even the guards of the Wang family did not dare to act rashly. If they dared to move, they would die. The death of the Wang family's grandmaster was a bloody example. Such ruthless methods immediately proved that this grandmaster was not someone who could be easily bullied. The grandmaster who had dared to question him had already been killed. A spear had pierced through his heart. The guards of the Wang clan were trembling with fear. Their faces were pale and they could not do anything even if they wanted to. Otherwise, not only would they not be able to save Wang Rulong, but they would also be buried with him. After all, who would dare to clamor in front of a grandmaster? Were they not afraid of death? "All right, disperse and clean up the mess." Xia Ping waved his hand. The group of people immediately dispersed. They cleaned up the corpses of the human warriors on the ship, treated the injured, repaired the parts destroyed by the fishmen pirates, cleaned the ship, and so on. The other guards of the Wang family did not dare to stay. They could only watch as Wang Rulong was hung on the flagpole, exposed to the sun and rain, battered by the wind and rain. Seeing the crowd leave, Jianghu looked at Xia Ping seriously. "This Wang Rulong is a member of the Wang family. Are you not afraid of offending him? I'm afraid you'll cause a lot of trouble this time." "Haven't I offended enough people?" Xia Ping asked back. Hearing this, Jianghu was completely speechless. She had nothing to say. This guy had really offended a lot of people. Not to mention others, just the demon kings of the myriad demon mountain alone, there were a lot of people who wanted to hack him to death. She reckoned that a mere Wang family was really nothing to him. However, she still felt a headache from this bad guy's ability to cause trouble. "Forget it, let's not talk about this anymore. What's with that geocentric Ganoderma?" Xia Ping asked curiously. He was very interested in this kind of elixir. If he could obtain it, it would definitely greatly increase his strength. Just like how ordinary people wouldn't mind having more money, martial artists wouldn't mind having more elixirs on them. Geocentric Ganoderma. That's a martial arts organization. Because of a sea storm, they accidentally came to a mysterious island called Myriad Treasures Island. From there, they discovered the existence of the geocentric Ganoderma. Jianghu said in a deep voice. It said that there are many elixirs on that island. The geocentric Ganoderma is only one of them. Therefore, after receiving this news, I teamed up with this group of people and planned to go to the island to gain experience. However, I didn't expect to encounter the fishmen pirates before we even reached the island. "Where is that island?" Xia Ping immediately asked. Jianghu cast a sidelong glance at him. "You want to go too?" "Of course. If there's an elixir appearing, why wouldn't I join in?" Xia Ping said as if it was a matter of course. But since that martial arts organization discovered the geocentric Ganoderma, why did they say it? Wouldn't it be better for them to keep it for themselves? He looked at Jianghu. Under normal circumstances, that would be the case. Jianghu said. The problem is that the island is extremely dangerous. It seems that there are many tyrannical monsters living there. Even the vicinity of the island is very dangerous. From time to time, deep-sea monsters appear. Not to mention the great danger on the island, even approaching the island is a troublesome matter. Before, that martial arts organization was only lucky enough to land on the island. When they escaped, they only narrowly escaped with their lives. Therefore, they believe that they don't have the ability to obtain the elixir, so they plan to sell this information for money. She said that the island was extremely dangerous. Dangerous? Xiaoping faintly smiled. Which part of this world wasn't dangerous? The Heavenly Demon Battlefield, the Zombie Mountain Range, the Cloud Mountain Range, and so on? Each and every one of them was a place where ordinary martial artists only narrowly escaped with their lives. Did he really think that he could safely obtain the treasure without any danger? That was only the ravings of a lunatic. Jianghu looked at the expression in Xiaoping's eyes. She knew that this guy absolutely had no intention of giving up. In fact, she was the same. If she was only worried about the danger, she wouldn't have followed the group to that place. Alright, I can tell you. But I also want to go with you. Moreover, I also want to send these injured people to be treated first. Jianghu said in a deep voice. No problem. Xiaoping waved his hand. One day later, the ship sailed to a nearby port. They planned to send the injured people on the ship to be treated. But just as they entered the port, they were surrounded by several battleships. The battleships impressively had the word Wang hanging on them. These battleships were impressively the forces under the Wang family. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Soon, many fully armed people boarded the ship. They were densely packed and surrounded the ship so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Uncle. Chapter 791. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked at the middle-aged man who suddenly appeared. The man's aura was not simple. It was like a dormant beast. He was at least at the sixth sky of the supreme power realm. In addition, there were more than a dozen masters behind him, all of whom were above the fourth sky of the supreme power realm. The arrival of these masters immediately suppressed the whole scene. It was as if they were being stared at by fierce beasts. If anyone dared to act rashly, they would be struck by lightning. Rulong. When the middle-aged man heard the voice, he looked up and immediately saw Wang Rulong hanging on the flagpole. Wang Rulong had been hanging for a day and a night. He was weathered by the wind and rain. He basically did not eat anything, not even water. He was extremely weak and his face was pale. He had never been so miserable in his life. Seeing Wang Rulong like this, the middle-aged man's face suddenly became gloomy. However, he was very shrewd and did not lose his temper on the spot. Instead, he turned his head and looked at Xiaoping. Mr. Xia, I am Wang Tong from the Wang family. I have long heard of your name. You are really a young hero. The middle-aged man cupped his hands and said to Xiaoping. Obviously, he had heard of Xiaoping's reputation. He even used the Wang family's intelligence network to clearly investigate what had happened around Xiaoping. He had a preliminary understanding of Xiaoping. Wang Tong also knew that Xiaoping was a core member of the giant company. There was a giant behind him that was even more terrifying than the Wang family. Therefore, he did not lose his temper on the spot. Instead, he suppressed his anger. If Xiaoping was an ordinary master, he was afraid that he would have ordered for Xiaoping to be captured on the spot and skinned. Unfortunately, he could not do that now. He did not dare to do so. Uncle. Seeing this, Wang Rulong immediately shouted, "Kill him, kill this guy immediately. He actually dared to hang me on the flagpole and let me be exposed to the sun and rain for a day and a night. He is not humiliating me. He is humiliating the Wang family. If I don't kill him, it will be intolerable." He looked at Xiaoping with hatred. He was extremely angry. Being hung like this was an unprecedented shame. As a descendant of the Wang family, when had he ever suffered such pain? He even wanted to kill Xiaoping now. Before, the guards of the Wang family could not protect him, but it was different now. His uncle Wang Tong had come here with a large number of people. He had nothing to be afraid of and immediately wanted to take revenge. Shut up. The middle-aged man Wang Tong shouted angrily at Wang Rulong. You impudent thing, can't you see that I'm talking to Mr. Xia? How dare you interrupt? Is this how you learn etiquette? Looks like you didn't learn anything in school, which is why you caused such a disaster. After you go back, immediately lock yourself up and reflect on yourself. Apologize to Mr. Xia immediately, or else you'll be hanging up there for another night. His tone was very strict. What? Another night? Wang Rulong was so aggrieved that he almost died. He was about to suffer internal injuries. This brat had clearly humiliated him, yet he still had to apologize. He was a descendant of the royal family, a natural-born noble. When had he fallen to such a state where a mere commoner dared to defecate on his head? No, no, no. Xia Ping waved his hands and said with a face full of righteousness, "He's a child, so it's normal for him to be ignorant. As the saying goes, the ignorant are innocent. But then again, we still have to teach him about this principle and let him know what rules are. Otherwise, he will continue to pester endlessly and cause trouble everywhere. I don't think it's a big deal for me, but I'm afraid he'll offend someone he can't afford to offend. When the time comes, he'll cause a disaster and implicate his family. If the Wang family is exterminated, then it'll be fun." "Exterminate your ass." Wang Rulong was so angry that his nose was crooked. This bastard's dog mouth could not spit out ivory. His words were full of swords, obviously mocking and humiliating him. "What do you mean by a child? I'm already in my 20s. In terms of age, I'm a few years older than you. I can be considered an elder, yet you still have the face to call me a child? Do you really think you're the boss? You even said that when the time comes, you might cause a disaster and implicate the Wang family, leading to the extermination of the entire family. What a vicious curse. The Wang family was a king family. If something happened, they wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. How could they be exterminated so easily?" These words were truly malicious. The surrounding guards of the Wang family were also as black as charcoal. They all understood the meaning behind Xia Ping's words. He was clearly warning the Wang family not to offend him. Otherwise, they might be exterminated and the entire Wang family would be erased from the Cloud Realm. "Did you hear that? Hurry up and apologize to Mr. Xia and thank him for not killing you this time." Wang Tong was also incomparably angry. A guy who was still wet behind the ears dared to curse the Wang family to be exterminated. He was too arrogant. However, he still suppressed the anger in his heart and shouted at Wang Rulong, reprimanding him loudly. Wang Rulong was going crazy. He was obviously beaten to this state by the other party. It was not an exaggeration to say that he suffered all kinds of humiliation, but he still had to apologize to the other party and thank him for not killing him. How could there be such logic in this world? Wasn't this kowtowing and apologizing to the enemy? Don't make things difficult. Xia Ping gave him a sidelong glance and said, "Wang Rulong is a member of the Wang clan. He has a noble status and is the favored son of the heavens. He was born with a golden spoon in his mouth. How could he apologize to someone like me? It's normal for such a person not to apologize. He's used to it. I bet he has never experienced it since he was young. As the saying goes, a melon that is forcibly picked won't be sweet. He didn't learn anything from it and didn't learn a lesson. What's the point of this kind of apology? Forget it." He expressed that it was a bit too much for a Wang family disciple to apologize to a person like him. It might shorten his lifespan and he couldn't bear it. Bitch. Wang Rulong was so angry that smoke was coming out of his nose. He really wanted to bite Xia Ping to death. How was this not asking him to apologize? These weird words were all aimed at his heart. Originally, he wanted to find an excuse to refuse this matter and get away with it. However, now that the other party had said it to such an extent, he had no choice but to apologize. This was clearly forcing a woman to be a prostitute. Wang Rulong. The middle-aged man Wang Tong's tone became even more serious than before. It contained great majesty. I'm sorry." Wang Rulong straightened his neck and his face was red. It seemed that saying these few words had exhausted all of his strength. He felt that there was nothing more humiliating in the world than this. It was the other party who beat him up and humiliated him. He even killed a master of the Wang family, but he still had to apologize to the other party. He felt that this was a great humiliation. He was so angry that his body was trembling. Chapter 792. Awe. Hearing this, Wang Rulong felt like he was going crazy. He was so angry that he wanted to capture this pretentious brat, skin him alive, pull out his tendons and exterminate his entire clan. As a guru, he could hear a mosquito's voice clearly even if it was 2 or 3 kilometers away. Now that the wind was strong, Wang Rulong said he couldn't hear clearly. This was simply fooling him. However, he had to lower his head under the eaves. He suppressed his anger and shouted again, "I'm sorry." After saying this, his body seemed to collapse and he used up all his strength. "Not bad, I heard you clearly this time. You're full of energy. It would have been good if you had worked so hard to kill the Murloc pirates," Xia Ping said with a smile. Wang Rulong had automatically blocked out the shameless bitch's words. Every time he said it, it was sarcastic. If he listened to every word, he would probably have a cerebral hemorrhage. "Mr. Xia, we didn't teach him well this time. I didn't expect him to grow into such a person." The middle-aged man Wang Tong looked at Xia Ping and said, I hope you won't hate the Wang family because of this. After all, our Wang family still respects Mr. Xia very much. In order to show our satisfaction, we feel that we should give Mr. Xia 10 billion federal coins as compensation for mental damage. I hope you don't mind. 10 billion federal coins? Wang Rulong was going crazy. Not only did he have to apologize, but he also had to compensate this kid. He never dreamed that the Wang family of the Endless Sea would be so humble to a little guru. He felt like he was going crazy. No. How can I accept this? You're too polite. Xia Ping said carelessly, but since this is your kind intention, if I refuse, it will be not giving you face. It won't be good. If that's the case, it would be impolite of me to refuse. Shameless. Wang Rulong bared his teeth. He obviously wanted to take the money, but he still showed a look of reluctance. Even a corrupt official would not have such a hateful expression. At least a corrupt official would do things after receiving money. But this kid, even if he gave money, it was guaranteed that he would not return. He would also pretend that nothing had happened. I'll transfer it to Mr. Xia later. Wang Tong straightforwardly said, Oh right, actually we have something else to discuss with Mr. Xia this time. I wonder if Mr. Xia has heard of the treasure island that has been in an uproar recently? He looked at Xia Ping. I've heard of it. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. Wang Tong nodded, that's good. Actually it's like this. This time, our Wang clan also wants to send a lot of people to the Myriad Treasures Island. We want to get a share of that place. I don't know if Mr. Xia is going the same way. Perhaps we can join forces. With Mr. Xia's strength and the strength of our Wang family, we will be able to reap great rewards on Myriad Treasures Island. He sincerely invited Xia Ping to join him. No need, Xia Ping flatly refused. I personally prefer to act alone. Hearing this, Wang Tong's pupils contracted. He didn't expect Xia Ping to reject him so decisively. However, he didn't continue to pester him. Alright, since it's like this, then I wish Mr. Xia good luck. As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his hand and ordered people to rescue Wang Rulong from the flagpole. As for Xia Ping, he just watched from the side and didn't stop them. A few minutes later, the group of people from the Wang clan left the ship. They came in a hurry and left in a hurry. Xia Ping, be careful. I always feel that these people from the Wang clan are up to no good. Jianghu instinctively felt that these people from the Wang clan weren't good people, especially that Wang Tong. He always had a smile on his face that hid a dagger. Who knew what he was planning? Up to no good. Xia Ping coldly laughed. This was a very normal thing. He had slapped the face of a Wang clan grandmaster, and even hung a descendant of the Wang clan on a flagpole to humiliate him. But this Wang Tong could endure such a thing and even apologize. After being slapped on the left side of his face, he casually put the right side of his face forward. No one would believe him if he said he didn't have any ulterior motives. As the saying goes, a dog that bites doesn't bark. This kind of person who was extremely shrewd could be called terrifying. Because once he started to bite, it would be a fatal attack, the kind that would kill with a single strike. That was why he flatly refused their invitation. But then again, so what if the other party harbored ill intentions? With his current strength, if the other party wanted to deal with him, he would definitely make them suffer the consequences. With strength in hand, he wasn't afraid of these people playing any tricks. Don't worry about that. When do we leave? Xia Ping asked. Jianghu thought for a moment. Tomorrow. We can rent a ship and leave directly. At this time, in a VIP ward of a hospital on the island, Wang Rulong had already been sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. His injuries weren't serious. He had only been hung on a flagpole for a day. As long as he soaked in the nutrient solution, his body would quickly recover and return to normal. Uncle. But now Wang Rulong was extremely unconvinced. He gnashed his teeth and looked at his uncle Wang Tong. Just now, why didn't you directly make a move and capture that damned bastard and torture him? Do you know what he did? He brazenly killed an elite cultivator of our Wang clan, an elite cultivator. He even hung your nephew on a flagpole for a day. Such actions are simply slapping our Wang clan's face to death. But you actually want me to apologize and even compensate that bitch 10 billion federal coins. Uncle, are you crazy? He couldn't understand it no matter how he thought about it. Full. Wang Tong shouted. That brat is a core member of the giant company. His future is limitless and he has the protection of many kings. If I dare to act against him openly, the giant company will destroy our Wang clan the next day. Even if you want to die, Don't implicate the Wang clan. Use your brain and think carefully. But Wang Rulong was still unconvinced. So what if he is a core member of the giant company? Our Wang clan also has people in the giant company. Could it be that we can't do anything to him? If I don't kill him, I won't be able to take this lying down. He was so angry that his teeth were itching. He wanted nothing more than to kill Xia Ping immediately to take revenge. Kill him, of course we must kill him. A cold light flashed in Wang Tong's eyes. But we can't kill him openly. In fact, our Wang clan can't do it personally. We have to borrow someone else's knife to kill him. That is the best plan. This brat has caused quite a bit of trouble. He has offended many demon kings of the myriad demon mountain. Those demon kings all want to kill this brat and have posted a bounty for him in the dark. Originally, I wanted to invite this brat to board the ship and secretly track his movements. After that, I would leak news of him and let those demon kings come to us for revenge. After that, we can just use someone else's knife to kill him. But I didn't expect that he actually rejected me. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.